3 currently on the scoreboard. What do we think about Delaware?
Yeah, Delaware. This is the team they won on land at the last EGFC Season 4 championship. So this is a Valorant team definitely hungry, but they've struggled to start things off. Whereas Howard, a newer program to the EGFC, only joining up in the spring split of season 4, and they've yet to find their first win in Valorant. So this is definitely going to be a tough opponent for them, but this is certainly a program that is continuing to work, continuing to develop, and trying to put themselves on the map. So good to see what we'll see what they can put together as Ballin, Bims, Kai, Nevia, and Kenny Cosmic are going to be going up against Goyangi, Lucas, Kevster, Cosmilk, and Harissa. And Goyangi, Kevstar, those are big names from the championship winning team last year.
Absolutely, the reigning champions, University of Delaware, had an amazing showing just a couple of months ago at the EGF Nationals, and I gotta say, if I'm going up against these kind of names, I'd be intimidated, especially when Howard's showing so far hasn't been amazing. So we will see how this series turns out.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is definitely going to be one that you approach as Howard, saying, okay, this is a Delaware team that hasn't been performing at that reigning champion expectation. Of course, last season they were one of the weaker teams in the fall, really picked it up in the spring and had a fantastic playoffs run to take it all the way and were able to win at home, which is a crazy experience. But you also have to take into account that there's a lot of factors that went into that win, and this is not some infallible Delaware team that's just going to get beat over and over. So we'll have to see what Howard has in store. But I think if nothing else, this is another good chance to test yourself. View it as a learning opportunity as well as exactly. We're just looking at what do these teams really have to bring to us? Can Delaware maintain that sort of status? And is Howard going to show off some of maybe what they've been cooking up as they've had a rough start to the season?
Hey, I do have to mention, Howard has been going up against some really tough opponents across the week. They went up against UTA last week, and it was 0-2, but they did manage to pull up a close fight in one of the maps. So, Howard is improving, although incrementally. We can probably expect a closer game because Howard has been improving, and Delaware currently not the best showing as the name, is aligned with. So we will see what this roster of Delaware can provide us with.
Yeah, and talking about how they were able to keep it close with UTA, I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. Another one of those
Mhm.
really strong teams that does come into your mind when you think about it. They were top 4 last season, so keeping it close against them always something to watch out for as a squad. As I believe that we do have maps available as well. And we're gonna get to see exactly where we're going. We've got Bind Haven and Sunset should we make it to map 3. But Bind, this is Howard's pick, and I'm hoping that they bring some confidence to kick off this one.
Course, find a close range map. You got to be careful with all of your picks, and I'm really excited to see what Howard and Delaware have to offer in terms of agent picks. And Howard has always had a very sentinel filled lineup. So we'll see if they'll pull off something similar this time over on Bind Haven. A completely different map, a completely different playstyle is required. We've got 3 sites, long range fights, short range fights, and it's all over the place. And Sunset, a relatively new map. Of course, I'm surprised to see it in the pool that this is what the third map is going to be. But if we do reach map number 3, it's going to be wild.
Yeah, and I mean there were bans, right? Both teams allowed this to go through. They were fine to have
Yeah.
Sunset be that decider. So I think that speaks to one, especially for a team like Howard, maybe practicing up those newer maps, having some of those strategies in your back pocket if you need them, right? Is having the ability to maybe sneak out a win when it comes to game 3 if your opponents just aren't as prepped on the newer maps.
Of course, and to be honest, Howard allowing that, they got something cooking, man. 6 weeks of training, 6 weeks of practice. It's finally something's got to come through. And I do want to mention from the Delaware side, as you mentioned, their fall split and not as strong as their spring split last season.
Mhm.
So that's the thing, right? They train in the Christmas holidays. They like, okay, guys, it's all right. We've discussed presents, we've discussed everything. Let's just get down to business, okay? This is how we're gonna play in the spring split. I'm really excited to see what Delaware has to offer. Delaware, Connecticut, UTA, RIT, some of the amazing teams this season that have been performing well, and we'll see how the Delaware now performs against Howard in this upcoming best of 3 series.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited as we're about to get into the agent select, see what these teams have got cooking up. And already, Delaware with Lucas got the Yoru. I've seen this a few times. You use it for those defensive side cross maps if you want to have that extra duelist or just have your duelist have that rotate ability. But still, already, Delaware giving us a little spice.
Man, Euro is such a hard agent to play, at least in my opinion. Luke is going for that straight and locking it. It kind of, just makes me feel good. Like the man's got confidence, and I love to see it. I hope he, he's got it to back it up as well. But Howard University looking on the other side, we've got a Brimstone, a Cypher, and a Viper coming in from Neviage. Still, Kenny and Ballin deciding on what they want to go for. A race pick comes out, and maybe we see another duelist coming in from Kenny. What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be a Jet, a Neon? I would love to see a Phoenix on this map. But unpopular opinion, Turbo. I
Yeah,
think Phoenix can be really good on this one.
that is that's a hot take. I'm gonna say not just
Select
because he's
your
Phoenix and
agent.
he's got the fire hands, but are seeing again that aggression coming through from Delaware, where you've got the double duelists, of course. You've got the Sky for some information as well. Neither team going for a Sovi's really sort of fallen out of favor when it comes to bind as of late. And Howard having, I guess, a little bit more standard, having that Cypher instead of the Yoru, but generally both teams taking a pretty similar approach. And I really am going to be interested to see if Lucas can be that difference maker with the Yoru, as opposed to the Cypher, who's used to being able to set up on B, give yourself some of that ability to just check your opponents with, of course, the global range of Cypher utility as a Sentinel. But both teams having the Brim and the Viper, the double controller setup that's been pretty standard on Bind. So I'm very just again excited about Lucas on this Yoru. Is it going to be able to step up?
Man, I'm really surprised I'm not seeing a Cypher or a Killjoy pick. Euro, it's amazing, but you're starting off on the defense. And they know they're starting off on the defense, so, going for a Killjoy or a Cypher pick makes sense. But Lucas got that confidence, right? And I'm all for it. I want to see what he does with it.
Yeah, and it is one of those power picks where if your team's practiced on it, it can be incredibly useful. It can open up the map in ways you didn't necessarily think about before, just because you have that teleport from side to side. In addition to, of course, the map teleports, you can go CT side instead of having to expose yourself. As now already kicking things off, Howard running right up the A site and just using that Viper wall to sneak on past. And instead we see this contest over showers. Looks like Lucas wants that first contact. Instead it's a race back to site. Goyanji taken down by Ballin already. And this is a great start as so many members stuck around showers. Kai loses that to Kevster, but it's still a plant for Howard.
Time to jump.
Oh yeah, but this is very dangerous. Howard University, they don't know if there's two present at showers. They know there's at least one, so Bowling, he's got to be careful. Two coming in from spawn as well. The situation's getting tense as the players have now started to move in. Lucas, here's the first flash. The first peek comes through. Cosmic caught with his pants down. Bowling takes care of one. Arissa finds the trade. It's a 3 versus 3 now. The players are being pushed out, and with this push out, it's a 2 versus 3. The Brimstone in the sky, nowhere to go. The bomb looking to be defused. The Molly has been pulled out. Great shot from Cosmic. Still have to deal in a 1 versus 2. Can he take down that raid? Yes, he does. The Molly comes out on top with 40 seconds remaining. He knew he had to go for it. And with that, Howard University makes the first round.
Oh, lineups coming through. BMM 12 stepping up. Had that unlock with the Brimstone, and that's a huge opener for Howard. I mean, it was complete confidence initially stepping through, and then to see them continue forward, maintaining the site pressure, playing time once they had the numbers disadvantage. Really impressed by Howard.
Love to see it. Love to see it, right? Howard coming out on top in that very first round. Now they've got Spectres to work with. Look at that, Harrison and Cosmic. They're just waiting to get their head taken off. No, Kenny, you gotta be careful. Oh my god, Kenny, okay. I'm sorry I said that. Man took care of both of them with the dog in his hand and switched it out completely. Kevster, here he is on the flank. Can he do something about the Cypher, though? No, Kai's playing as patient as he possibly can. There's another peak. 30 nails to his name. Lucas is there to save the day on the other side, but Howard University, they've got the plan down, and with that, there's not much else you can expect. BMM, he's looking to take care of that ball and beats out one, takes care of them. They've got no health to work with. Ain't no way they can make something happen. Looking for the save here, probably pick up that Spectre, but I don't think that's going to happen.
At this point, it's just about
Oh,
damage. Lucas has a nice angle here on the BMM and
oh.
will snatch up the kill. This gets Howard worried for a second, as that's going to be Ballin getting the kill back. It's just Kevster all alone. Is going to get flashed out. This bomb's going down. I think just wants to die to the bomb instead. Don't give away any extra creds. And that's going to be the case. Another good round, Howard making do. But still, Delaware taking 2 guns off their opponents. That always feels good on the eco, right? It's not just giving away one or not having it be a flaw.
Yeah, it really did seem like this flank is going to be a complete blowout with the way they were lining up, but Lucas came there, came in clutch, and as we mentioned, the Yoru plays still haven't shined in yet, but just the positioning tells us what this man is up to. He's ready for this defense, and now when we've finally got the guns on the side of Delaware, we shall see what they can offer with this interesting lineup.
Yeah, and I do want to see this Delaware squad at full strength. Of course, that pistol was incredibly close, settled by just margins of a couple hit points, and that means you can't put too much stock in this 2-0 lead initially from Howard is a good start. Now these duels are where it really matters, and Kai picking up the first one.
Look at that, Lucas. He was feeling it, but Kai was feeling it just a little more. Takes him down with 30 health remaining. But with that, they don't still have a lot of control of anything at the moment. A side is still completely covered, and Howard University have yet to make a play. Let's look at this map here. We've got Viper and Sky holding B long, and the other 2 agents holding A main. The mid of both sides left completely open. Where do you go next? And honestly, I kind of like the strategy. Just let them plant, play on the retake.
Yeah, and this is also playing for teleport options, is trying to cut off those quick rotates from your opponents. Is now, I think they're going to hear all of this utility coming down. Kevster going to be that first point of contact, and we'll see if this strategy does work out for the side of Delaware. Kevster with the paint shells out, somehow not punished, takes on the Trailblazers, still alive. Satchel used for a little space, and Ballin gets through, but on the back side, BMM, they've pincered him through. And it's just Kevster all alone, 2 separate sides. Harissa, she's going to do her best, as it doesn't look like Nevi realizes there's an extra player here, and there's the opportunity, and Harissa wins the Vipers duel. Still so little health. Such a good setup from Howard. This is very, very difficult for Delaware to try and defend, but Kevster getting Kai, that's another big start. BMM, we saw the impact of this lineup before. It's tracing down. The Vipers pit's there as well. That's gonna be dead Harissa, unless it's just short and they don't realize. And the thing is, Kenny's there at the last second to make sure the kills come through. Is there enough time? A couple seconds, and it's just within the margins for Delaware.
How to pull that off. In those final moments, he had the confidence to leave the spike, go for the kill. He flicked onto his head, found it, and even then got the spike down. But that round came close. Very well played from both.
So close. That was a margin. That was inches on that Molotov that the plant was off. I mean, if that Molly lands dead center, I think you don't get it to half, and that's a win for Howard. And then they'd be up 3-0, resetting their opponents after the bye, looking at a potential 5-0 scoreline, but instead, Delaware just barely able to hold on.
But hey, they won a crucial round, and if that slight mistake on the Molly gave them this crucial round, I'm all for it. It's amazing what just a couple of inches off that Molly can do for you in this game. 2-1 now, Delaware back in it. Still not a lot of money to work with though, as we do see a couple of shotguns coming in from Brimstone. But as of right now, the push is towards A side. That's what they're planning to attack in first, but they've got to wait for the smoke to play out. Full of flashes to go in as well, but this is a party waiting to happen. Lucas It's gonna get suppressed. He knows where they are. Ballin is pushing in, but he doesn't know where the Yoru is. Ballin, never mind. Ballin knows. Oh, Ballin's feeling it for the double kill now. He's gotten the side under control. And with the rocket in his hand, he's looking to extend even further. Goes for this peak. Kind of wasted the ult there, but it's fine as long as they've got control and they're wasting as much time as they possibly can for the defense to take back.
Yeah, so much space that and so much time that Showstopper gives you. Now Harissa's gonna try and push in, but you're throwing snake bites and blind. You're gonna send in a Showstopper, and there's one trade, but now you're on the wrong side of the smoke. You've used your Showstopper instead, and now Kevster on the wrong side of this fight, all alone. Ballin's gonna try and win that duel, and does. 3-1 up for Howard.
There they just like that. Howard University comes out on top here. Let's have a look at the economy. Nope, it is down in the drain currently with Kevster having enough money. Probably buy a Vandal, but he should stick to getting his team some pistols to work with because everybody else is low to turbo. I'm loving the strength coming in from Howard University. You know, we were in the green room. We were in the green room. We were discussing what kind of score lines we'll expect, and trust me, this was not one of them.
No, I wasn't expecting this confidence from Howard, but I'm happy to see it. Really putting Delaware to the test and also demonstrating that, yeah, Howard did have a really rough start to the season. But the thing is about having those tough matches early is it gets you used to the worst of the worst, and it means that you have tons of footage to review of these really sharp squads, and there's a lot that you can take from them. So now we're going to see Howard just continuing to put that to use as this Delaware team scrambling a little bit. I will say not all hope is lost or anything yet if you're a Blue Hens fan, but certainly Howard giving them a fight in spaces that I don't think they were expecting.
Oh, absolutely not. Not expecting this kind of fight here over towards A. But hey, let's have a look at what they plan to do this time. We've got two pushing in from B main. That's an amazing flash. They should be able to catch two. Never mind. Ballin with the perfect timing takes down Cosmic. And the spray down with the flash as well. Doesn't even matter. But does he expect two more players? Luke is still hiding in the corner with the sheriff in his hand. He should at least find one. Never mind. Lucas is taken care of. Harissa gets one. But BM comes out on top with that. Shorty taking down the Viper. And with that, getting side control as they know it. Kevster with the sheriff in his hand. He's the only player surviving in B side, but will he be able to do anything? Will he be able to stop this dominant force that is Howard University already taking control of B? Kevster and the Brimstone both just hiding in one corner. Kai taking down a couple of points of health from him, and what do you do next? Look at that from Howard. They're not even pushing. They don't want to give them an ounce of money for the next round.
Yeah, you want to protect your guns if you're Howard, keep that bank building, and for Delaware, I think you're in a similar spot where you're going to see if someone comes looking for you. Otherwise, just go down to this bomb, take the L on that round. That's what you were expecting. It was a save no matter what. Kai's going to peek in and does get the extra kill, so that's going to feel pretty good. As Kai will still go down, so that's two guns away, but I think they wanted to get rid of that judge anyway for Howard. But another solid anti-eco round. I mean, losing two, but you want to, again, rotate out that shotgun, so just good, clean play so far from Howard. They haven't been overextending themselves, and they've been punishing when Delaware tries to get a little tricky. And while Lucas is sitting at second on the scoreboard, I haven't seen really any instances where I'd rather have that flash or just the body clone as opposed to a camera on the opposite side.
This is completely unexpected here. Howard University out of their minds at the turbo. This is their offensive side. They have got only a single duelist, and this is how they're performing. You'll love to see this kind of aggression from Howard University. See what they do next. We've got two over at B main, couple more over towards B short. Nobody pushing in just yet. Cosmic playing this close angle. So does Harissa. Cypher. Got Kai pushing in. Duel might just come through yet. Who peeks first? Oh, he decided to just sit in that corner. Chill it out. Wait it out here, Harissa. I don't think they know.
I don't think so either. No, they don't realize how much space has been taken, and I think that Howard's aware that this is probably that similar two-member setup, and there's the call straight into Garden. They knew where the Viper was sitting. That forces out the teleport. Cosmic still dies, and this is just a fantastic execute off this space taken from Kai.
Absolutely. With just the presence play, he did nothing else. And he got all the information he needed for his team. Goyangi is going to take care of bowling, so the match is not over yet.
Oh,
Lucas finds another one. Okay. Everywhere else, Delaware is having a lot of success. Ooh, the ult has been pulled out. All the information. Guy's still alive. Second round, but he knows the position of all the players except for Kevster, who's going to take care of him. BM, he's out in the open, not much to do. And just like that, even after getting the site, it's Delaware back in business, getting the defuse, and what a retake.
yeah, that was a fantastic retake after that initial take. I mean, you force this, you just kill the Sky, force her to try and run off. Your Viper gets pulled all the way back, but still, I think the fact that your Viper's the one that survives is so crucial for Delaware. It means you can still put that wall up and down. You can still smoke off Puka and give your teammates a little space between these windows that Howard are trying to play around. And they're able to isolate some 2v1s, win a couple duels, and that gets Delaware right back into this one.
Absolutely, a lot of money to work with. We do see Kenny Cosmic on that light shield. He wants to save up as much as possible in order to get to this 4-4 scoreline. And now, in the previous rounds, Harvard University did lose players, so their economy is not exactly booming, but they've got the money to work with at least for one more round. This one, Kevster, very aggressive position. Let's see if he's able to do something with it, because Kai and Bowling have already pushed through. Lucas is fake, could do a lot of damage. Does he do it? He's gonna get taken down by Ballin with a nade on the guns. Yes, he does. Lucas traded out. U-Haul taking control of Ballin, peeks out again. Kevster's been spotted, just like that. More and more control being lost. Howard University, they're dwindling in numbers though, and we have seen what happens when you lose numbers. The retakes can be so difficult to stop. Look at that, a wise decision, going towards B side, but look who's waiting for them with open.
Oh, Harissa's here. There is still an orbital strike as they don't expect there to be anyone left standing. Kenny is going to dance around too, but will win the duel. Kevster gets taken down over top, and suddenly this is just rushed from Delaware. It's all up to Goyanji, and she's only got 40 HP. Does have the orbital strike, though. I think that's going to be crucial. If you can find a kill off of that ultimate, we might just see the rotate around instead. But
they had an out.
But the orbital strike could be even stronger, right? You just have to deny for a few seconds here. Oh, I don't know. It's close.
Does he go for it now? No, he does not. He's playing for the patient game, and he does not expect BM pushing all the way in. Goyangi taken care of. Howard University, huge round win. Definitely did not expect them to win this 3 versus 4, I believe. That's what the player stats were, you know. A lot of success over at A side, but as soon as they went to B, it just crumbled down. The Viper, Harissa, they could have taken care of both, but the spray transfer did not connect, and with that, taking side control, the Sky just going for Cirque. Kenny playing out of his mind, and Howard University keeping the lead and going up to 3.
Yeah, if Harissa, if she gets rid of that Sky, immediately a 1 round for Delaware with no counterplay as Lucas trying to get aggressive. Kevster does get the counter frag, though, and that's already a win on an eco.
Absolutely, pushing in from short, exactly what you needed here. Now, Howard University and Delaware are aware of where this offense looks to head, but that doesn't matter if you've got the bigger guns. Sky and BM just numbering down. It's bringing down the numbers here for Delaware. 2 versus 4 as we see the Rays and the Brimstone looking to towards B side, maybe get a couple of damage points in. 60 points of health remaining with Kevster. They've got a Vandal, and a wise decision would be to save this gun, but would they go for it? That's the question. BM and doesn't want to save anything. He's got a shorty in his hand. All he needs to do is spot the shadow. It doesn't matter. Kevster, how does he hear that? It works out. He should take the Vandal. He should get out of here.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the call. Already see the Brimstone running away. That should be 2 guns carried over. Kevster maybe wanting one more exit. Oh, that got scary when you see the Roomba locked on. You've only got 20 HP. But yeah, that's going to be 6 on the board for Howard, as they've already confirmed themselves at the very least an even half. This is a great performance for this squad. And I mean, when you said that they had a close matchup up against UTA despite it being a 2-0, this is the kind of performance that you expect from teams that are keeping it competitive with UTA.
Oh, absolutely. I think they managed to take at least like 7 or 8 rounds against UTA, which in retrospect doesn't seem like a lot, but those were like good rounds. Like they were some great rounds, and very similar scoreline in map number 2 as well. So playing very well here, Howard University 6-2 against University of Delaware on a map like Bind. But hey, I'm not gonna count out Delaware just yet because there's those small shines of plays that they've had, those small little beams of hope that they've provided do look very promising. And as of right now, Delaware is looking to amp that up. More presence towards A shot. We've got 2 duelists just waiting to welcome 3 of the players from Howard with open arms. Let's see if they're able to do something with it. Kevster has to head back after that flash, but 2 players have already pushed in from Tower. Kevster might be taken down here. Yes, he does. Kai gets the trade. Goyangi is going to get one for himself before Kai takes them down. Kai, the Cypher, playing like a duelist. This is the kind of Cypher that I want on my team.
Yeah, he's running in. He's using that information. Lucas gets spotted by the neural theft already. Makes the difficult situation that much tougher. We do see the Seekers come through. So that might add a little extra chaos. The headshot going wide allows the trade to come through for Ballin. Now Lamps is sent back the other way. Cosmic keeps it competitive as now it's turned into a 2v2. This really does feel like a must-win for the side of Delaware, but there's lineups already getting in place for Howard despite Kai going down. BMM, we saw this was close before. It was inches off, and this time it looks like Cosmic isn't going to get in. Oh, Cosmic does get hit. This is going to ride the line. Got it to half, though. I think they'll be able to get it so long as BM doesn't go up huge. And indeed, that's going to be the half stick making it. Oh, half a second. I didn't think it was that close. The half is fine. It's fine.
Hanging on, but hey, as long as you make it. Do gotta mention that this is the second time that the defense has won off of a molly, either with that is mistimed or just missile. So this is something to take care of. BM, if he can perfect that timing, that's a lot of rounds taken away from Delaware. They already are in a 3-round lead, but they could go much further ahead. And Turbo, I gotta ask, I've been playing Bind for a long. I've never seen that kind of a wipe.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times from the brim, and it is difficult, though, to get exactly right as far as your placement. And that's where I think the team coordination also has to come through, is making sure that you've practiced that exact lineup plenty of times, but it's about making sure that you're sticking it where you're getting complete coverage. Now already Delaware, they're just trying to play out of showers. They've been flushed out, and instead Ballin gets shut down off the showstopper. This is a complete turnaround. Kevster gets one. Nader's still flying high, and Kevster gets 3 immediately, and Kai's running for the hills.
Oh yeah, not much you can do here. Gotta go for the save, 1 versus 3. If you've got the money, sure, try to dwindle the numbers, but look at that, an amazing round to say the very least. Kevster, he pulled out the rocket, got 2 more kills with a Vandal. Just no cover whatsoever, no smokes provided for the defense, for the offensive side. Even if there were any, they just ran out of time. And this is the kind of time, this is like the place where you'd expect a Sage Wall to come in clutch. That's not what they went for. It is still a 1 versus 3. Kai wants to go all out here. He wants to take a couple of kills before going down. Only 80 points of health remaining, though. Let's see if he's able to do something. Harissa, miles away, takes their head off, and that's another round for Delaware.
Yeah, it already felt pretty confirmed. Harissa able to get the kill over the top. And Delaware got the last 2, need 2 more for an even half. But still, I mean, this is more, that round was a lot more of the kind of Delaware that I remember from last season. Kevster stepping up, having a great flashy performance, and continuing to, carry the team forward as far as their momentum. And now we're seeing the first save, I think, this half from Howard, as they've finally been pushed to the brink with these rounds staying expensive. And even though they'd had quite a few wins, just enough jumps back and forth. They're starting off quick, and Lucas and Kevster a little quicker, 2 of their own from the duelists.
Yeah, I mean, the last round should have been a signal that this strat with the Viper Wall, dividing that place in half, trying to get a couple of kills is not working out anymore. They figured out how to tackle it, and at this point, you've got to try something different. Surely, it would have been made much more clear. BM, that's okay. As far as I remember, that's not a sniper. That's not a rifle. You're peeking 2 long angles with a shotgun. So he does head back now. But let's see if they can get the spike down. Even getting the spike down does mean great for the next final round, at least in terms of economy. But getting the round, that would be even better. This position, I don't think they can, though.
Yeah, it's so late in the half, it's really difficult. You're just waiting for someone to make a mistake, but I like this hold from Delaware. They know it's likely still going to be this a site, or, I mean, they still even have their forces split, as now the smoke's coming down. Good confirm things. That first kill going over to Lucas, gets the double on the VM, and Kai can't even find a gun. Kevster gets that kill. It's flawless here in round 5, as Delaware marching for even.
Before the switch.
Guys, if I could just find a gun. If I could just find a gun. It's all I need. But no. Denied the guns, denied the kills, denied the round. 5-6. Delaware have brought it back from a 4-1 scoreline. So an extremely impressive performance late into this first half. One more round here. What do we expect from Howard? Judging by that Viper wall, I feel like it's gonna be the...
Yeah, it's... we'll see if they go for it one more time. Already, we're seeing the Vipers but use a cutoff B, and it seems like Howard's still fine with this, but Lucas already getting the Cypher out of showers, and being a man down this quick just feels very rough. They know there's at least one player on main site. Viper wall comes down, wrong time for BM. And there's a little of that coordination coming through as Lucas covers the back of Brimstone. Goyanji hides in her own smoke and still manages to get the kill. It's just Kenny left standing, gonna rotate around with the spike. He's gonna be straight into the waiting arms of Harissa. She'll just wait for that audio cue, the jumping around. Actually, the team's playing it safe. Wait for the confirmation, and that's an even half after Howard were up. I want to say 5-1 at one point.
Switching sides.
Yeah, I think it was at least 4-1, if
4-1.
not 5-1. But yeah, 4-1. There they go. Amazing way to take this game back. And, you know, to think that it was all off of 2 mollies. I mean, sure, there were other factors, but in retrospect, it was those 2 misaligned and mistimed mollies that really got Delaware back with that extra footing. Because if they didn't get those rounds, then the economy would just not be built well enough to get to this side. But that's the universe we're living in. That's how the cookie crumbled. Delaware have made it back. Now, the question is, with a roster like this, will they be able to make the offensive side count? Delaware now looking to take sites, and now looking to take the lead for the very first time.
And this is where the Yoru can have a lot of that hidden impact when you're on the offense and you want to be able to have someone playing for showers control, make your opponents have to think, right? Ballin already forced to fall off the position, and there's still just that teleport, and he's right back into the fight, straight up to B site after you're pulling forces towards A. You're showing presence, and now you've got an execute available.
My god, it's a house of cards for the Cypher. He's gonna take some damage, but will it be enough? Kai, he's not able to do anything there. Kevster finds one. Kenny, gotta look in front of you before you look up, because Kevster is ready to mean business. He's taken care of 2. And honestly, that's all you need to take B side. 3 versus 5, a retake through the smokes. Definitely not going to be easy, especially on a pistol round. Let's see if we can do something. Ball impedes out, takes out Lucas, takes out 2. Cosmic, he's gonna find the trade, but look at that balling. He's absolutely balling with that classic. Will he be able to take care of this? No, he does not. Never mind. Delaware finally coming out on top. That was way too close with what was imagined.
Yeah, insane back and forth. Very, very close pistol, but still goes the way of Delaware's now, including last half. We've got 5 in a row. The squad is streaking forward, and you can see the momentum in a lot of these confidence plays that we just weren't seeing as much of at the start. We're seeing a lot more of Kevster just being willing to satchel over the opposition, seeing Cosmic getting a little scrappier. Now, of course, Lucas happy to take space, being that duelist on offenses. It did seem like for Delaware, they're still working on this Yoru. It's difficult to make work on defense as effectively as you might want, but now we see it's the classic gambit of we're going to put everyone on one site because we're saving and hope our opponents go that way. And it seems the coin flip was lost by Howard.
They've still got this. I mean, look at that. Look at this. They've got no presence over towards B side. And finally, they've taken a little too long. Oh my god, this is basically... Fine. That's one way to put it. They keep moving around in circles now, pushing in towards the A side. They've already gotten control. They're looking to get the spike down. And the closest player from the defense is at the opening of A side, and there's Kai with a shotgun in his hand waiting at you, Hall. No, not much you can do there unless somebody decides to peek right onto you. Bowling is also there
Oh,
as well. Lucas, you know what? He says like, you know what? I'll be kind of playing with this. Lucas finds one. Kai is not gonna survive for much longer if he stays around. Just like that, site has been taken care of, taken all the control they wanted. Cosmic's gonna find another one. Bulldog, Kester, Goyangi, I could say all these names, but in the end, it's Delaware coming out on top with a flawless round.
yeah, that's a good anti-eco to have. Not a single gun dropped. And we saw a bit of an investment on the other side. You know, a couple great pistols. I think there's a Stinger picked up as well. Or actually, that was a full buy down. So yeah, we're not getting guns in this next round. We're getting another scrappy buy. A lot of shotguns. So Howard digging themselves an even bigger hole with that gamble last round.
We did see Marshalls and Shorties coming in from at least the Rays and the Cypher. Unfortunately, did not work out well for them. Especially they didn't have to do this. The scorelines were that close. It was 6-7. Unfortunately, that's what they have gone with. The cookies crumbled now, and there's not much else you can do. A split towards B side, and we've got one over at A just lurking. Let's see if they can do something with it. Kai has gotten all the information he needs. Harissa peeks out. Do they find Eviange? Yes, they do. Kai left with the Rays at side. Delaware, they're playing patiently, and this could work in favor for them, especially now they've got no guns on the defensive side. You know, there it is. They've been spotted. The shotguns could lose some damage, but will it be enough? That remains the question. Cosmic takes care of Kai. Bowling finds one before being taken down. Great plays, though, from Howard University, trying to stop this push with just shotguns. Delaware's, they've still got the man advantage. Now in a 1 versus 3, Kenny Cosmic, a sheriff in his hand, and a dream to take this round.
Here, hawk out.
Yep, a dream is pretty accurate. Not much you can do with just an Ion Sheriff. When you're running into guns, they know exactly where you are. And, I mean, I didn't hate the idea from Howard. Go for the all-in on that second round. Some teams just aren't expecting it. And that was a full clip from the Spectre, all dancing right around Kenny's head. But instead, it is Delaware up to 9. And now we're going to see that timeout from Howard. And I think this is where you do have to sort of reflect on how you chose to start this half off. It was a very, very close pistol. You're feeling like, oh, we were just there, and then choose to go for that 5-man stack with a buy. It's risky, and now they're really feeling the pain, so you want to see a strong gun round. That's why they're planning it out now. Make sure that they have their best foot forward. Otherwise, this could very quickly get out of hand for Delaware.
This is how they wanted it to go. And of course, Delaware, you know, the stars have aligned with the pistol round, and then the opponent's forcing when they need not do it. Just like that, they've got a 3-round lead when they're on the offensive side. And Lucas, and of course, the Rays, the entire team is playing amazing. You know, they've got all the communications. They know peak. They know Rissa on that lure class. Dwindle down the numbers, you know, intimidate the enemy into thinking that they're all across the map, they could be anywhere. And with just those shotguns, there's not much else you can do when Delaware pushes in guns blazing towards BC.
Yeah, this is that moment, and we're already seeing full rifles, except for BM has that judge in hand. But Delaware, they're still bonus with a couple of these Spectres. They're building that bank. I mean, look at Lucas and Harissa, just 4.7, 5.7. They've got 2 buys at least in hand. Already you're seeing Lucas on the right side of this. Fallen wanting to play for that showstopper, and that could be another big piece to this round.
Could be, but this time he's not going to be as aggressive as he was last time. You know, he knows that there's a gun disadvantage at play here. Ballin, gonna try some information here towards a short, while the players from Delaware have decided to push in towards B long. No information provided to Howard University just yet, and look at that. That is a stim beacon to make this rotation. Howard University has not moved. It's a day in the park for them. They're just waiting for them to push.
But we did see, after that initial pressure, the Rays moved over to the B site. So maybe that was reading back to earlier when we saw exactly what happened, right? The Yoru teleport used to let you be on both sides of the map at once. And now we see the race in, and this is where the Brim is going to have to come up huge. Nevia's already got one. BM putting that judge to work at close range. Another Molly down. This is a scrappy fight, but Kester is running over top. Got 2 with the Phantom. and now the showstopper's down. Doesn't connect, but
30
Kevster
seconds
might have
left.
just saved that round.
Oh, that he definitely did. You would not expect somebody to
Spike
just
planted.
satchel onto your heads, especially in that position when you're losing players. Kevster did the inevitable, got this round back into their hands. Delaware in a 3 versus 2. Health
Last
not in the
player
hands of Kevster.
standing.
He should be able to get taken care of. No, he does not. Still survives. Man is in singular digits, but he's still alive. And as long as he's still alive, he can get all the information he. Harissa is going to put the DK in. Kenny Cosmic in a 1 versus 2. There's not much you can do, especially when you're being peeked on from 2 different angles. Goyangi takes care of them. It's Delaware hitting 10 or double digits in the second half.
Yeah, and that play from Kevster definitely saved that round, and it might have just sealed this game. Now to 8 in a row for Delaware. I mean, when you think back to, it was 6-2 before Delaware started this streak, and now Howard has just not quite been able to get there, and it's been close so many times. And now losing that gun round, you're pretty much giving up to round 11. Then you're going to try and fight for match point, and if you don't win that, feels all but over. But we'll see if with the scraps there's any opportunity. Tripwire already taken out though.
So it seems it's gonna be an aggressive push towards B main. This Bucky really needs to come in clutch here. They know it's a shotgun. They don't want to push in without any flashes, but they might have heard the footsteps of the Cypher retreating. He does fly back. Ballin, he's got an ult.
Showstopper.
You've got the ult. You've got the rocket launcher to make stuff happen. Please,
I've got your
please,
trail.
just hit the X, hit the ult. Yes, he does, but he does get spotted.
I can't see.
No, he's gonna miss. Harris, he only finds 1 when he could have found 5. Unfortunate for Howard University, as Delaware have taken control of B side, and with that, they might as well have taken the round, unless Kai can do something here. He does not check his corner. Kevster finds 1. He's gonna take care of 2, and that leaves just 2 on the side of Howard.
Not sure what happened there. That was wild.
Lucas is not your friend.
Lucas has no peripheral vision, it seems, in that moment. Just couldn't realize, caught on the self flash, it seems. And now we're gonna see last member BM trying to run and use the orbital strike. Still blind, somehow gets the kill. There's 2 more members to take care of, and Kevster's on a killing spree, as that's 11 up now for Delaware.
11-6, 2 rounds away from taking map number 1. This game has been a roller coaster, to say the very least. The start of this round, the start of this game, it did seem like Howard University is going to take this all the way through, but Delaware just, decided to turn their monitors on, decided to use their mouse for the controllers, it seems like, and they finally seem to got it in the bag. 2 rounds away from taking map number 1, with Howard University in their final itsy bitsy pieces of economy. They've got the Vandals and the Phantoms. Let's see if they can do something with it.
This is their final buy, it feels, unless they can start stringing it together now. The shots traded across B long. Now we're going to see potential contact and showers between a couple of controllers.
Who's next?
And it's in these tight moments that you're watching as Luke is just going to race out in the middle of it, has to escape back after showing, and that's going to pull everyone over. Harissa plays the option, and now Kai able to keep it under control, but that was almost the great bait and switch from Delaware.
Oh my god, so many players. Everybody has been spotted, but they don't have any aggressive ults to work with. And at this point, the bomb will go down. Kai, he's in a great position. Ball and both of these players have to come in clutch. They need to do something in order to take this round, but Balling, there's not much else he can do. Okay, he can do something to those satchels. He finds 1, he's gonna get another one. Kai, can he pull off a few kills as well? Luke is gonna take care of 2. He's gonna even the odds with Howard University. Goyangi's got an ult, and with that ult, I think they've even got the round. Time is ticking, and Goyangi's gonna find 1. Luke is gonna get a 3K, and Delaware is gonna hit 12.
Oh, and that was a chance. I mean, Kai taking down Harissa, slowing down the approach, allowing the rest of the team to make it to the A site. It almost looked so good until you start losing duels, and then eventually it's an even game state, and orbital strike versus not orbital strike in that spot. I think you're happy to be on defense for Delaware, and now they just need 1 more. It's an okay buy from Howard. You've got 3 Vandals, couple shotguns. I mean, this is a map where you can put those shotguns to use sometimes. Kai's already getting aggressive out of A. And we've got 4 members strong here along B site. We'll see what that contact looks like. And it's dead.
Kevster finding the first one, and probably with that, even the game. Intimidated, they definitely are, but let's see if the defense can pull something off here. It's all down to Ball, and he finds one. He could have gotten the second, but unfortunately, Kevster is going to be surviving. There's a showstopper looking to stop this game. BM to pick up the Vandal on the flank, but he might be a little too late to stop this plan. Delaware in a 3 versus 3. They've got bomb down, and they've got the site control.
Sweet, and they're just going to be meeting up. Full team push out of Hookah. It is now or never. You've got some smokes. You've got some flashes. Now's the time to drop them, as Goyangi's going to be the first point of contact. She doesn't actually get that initially. Lucas, though, able to take second coming out the side, and Kai gets one with the judge. Now gets a second with the picked up Vandal. And it's down to a 1v1. Kai and Lucas, the Cypher versus the Yoru. We wanted to see which pick would be more impactful, and so far it's felt like Lucas on this Yoru has been making the difference and wins the duel, ends the game as Delaware go up 1-0.
Oh, he left the defuse. He was on the smoke. He definitely would have gotten that if he stayed, but that's not the universe we live in. Turbo, what a round. What a game. The, Howard University did not win a single round in the second half. That's the kind of dominant force Delaware was as soon as they entered offense. That's the Delaware we know from last season, and that is the Delaware who is now up by 1 in this best of 3 series. Turbo, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that just looked like they saw some moves coming through from Howard at the start. Those caught them off guard, but once those tricks ran out, right, like splitting up, a site and moving up towards lamps or moving straight onto site, once that trick had sort of been used up, it didn't feel like there was a ton in Howard's playbook for them to really work with, and it all just started to fall apart. And Delaware, you win championships by being able to adjust, and they certainly showed it. That last half so incredibly dominant, as now we'll have to see moving on to Delaware's pick in Haven if there's anything Howard can really do. I don't think so, but of course there's always a chance, as we're going to cut to a quick break before getting into that second map. Don't move anywhere, as we'll be back with more action.
Flanker 3, Western Spanish, Flanker 3. Lake 3, confirm radar, Flanker 3, Lake 3. Lake 3. 120, RTV was on reset.
Welcome back to the EGFC, as we just saw quite a map between Delaware and Howard on Bind. It was a lot of strength shown by Howard at the start, but Delaware kicked it up in the second half.
And they kicked it up. They threw it down so hard. Not even a single round loss, and that's just as impressive as it can get when you're, Delaware. But hey, let's see what a map like Haven is going to provide for Team Howard. A completely different map than Bind, right? They've got a couple of strats on. I'm sure they've got some on Haven. I just hope they don't run out of them as soon as they did.
Yeah, that's going to be the real question, but this is also Delaware's map pick on Haven, right? Howard were the ones who wanted to go to Bind, and they showed they had some stuff prepared. But Haven, again, it's really old. It's barely been touched from beta. So you have to expect that there's been a lot of practice. This is one of those standard collegiate games, so Howard must have had plenty of matches on it. And I do want to see if we see any deviation from sort of the base standard composition, just getting the Jet, the Sova, the Omen, the KO, right? Seeing if we have any differences, right? Will we see some variations when it comes to the duelists, when it comes to your Sentinel? It's possible, but Haven has felt like a solved map for a while now.
It's one of the University of Delaware. They probably played it times more, but we shall see what Howard University to offer on. I gotta, I gotta ask you, Trevor. Remap, right? 3 sites on this map. What kind of rosters are we expecting?
I mean, like the most standard composition you tend to see is you can go Omen Viper plus KJ Sova and a Jet, but normally you see a second initiator as opposed to that Viper. It has been sort of played with where if you want to have this sort of double Sentinel style, you have that Viper step in, so you can have an anchor for A, you can have an anchor for C, and then you can let your Omen be a little bit freer to cover B site if necessary. Delaware, sticking to a little bit more standard with that Sova, it seems like he's the most consistent agent I've seen selected by teams just because of how much information, how much like hard information you need for this map, knowing how many players are split between the sites. This breach that we're seeing locked in from Delaware, not something that's seen a ton right now, a lot more Sky just because teams have been favoring that information, even KO just for the ability to take down KJ information when it comes to like taking Garage, taking A site, but that breach still offers a lot of firepower. Delaware looking a lot more standard just with that Sova, but Howard, they've got a lot of smoke coverage, so we'll have to see if that does it for him.
They're starting off on the attacking side, so it might as well. But I gotta say, I love the breach pick here. On a map like Haven, you don't see it as often, but I can assure you that breach, if used properly, can go a long way no matter what map you're using. In my opinion, it's the most underrated agent, right? If my duelists go away when I'm playing competitive, right? If there are insta lockers, I just go breach because hey, it's almost a duelist. Right, you can either help the duelist or become one yourself with the way their abilities have been mastered. So I'm really expecting to see the breach pull off.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a strength, especially with a team like Delaware. They are very practiced, and this is an agent that you have to be practiced on to make it work here on Haven because of how easy it is to accidentally cross your fault lines and hit your teammates. How many,
Yeah.
aftershocks you have that can really catch opponents off guard. So definitely going to be watching for those ability usages. So far, it looks like Howard, they're going to be starting off attacking, just looking for a little bit of map pressure around B. Not expecting this to be a stick, is already spotted by the alarm bot. Fallen racing forward, just wants to take the duel straight onto Goyangi. Not want to give any kind of support, but Kevster and Cosmic already tearing it up by the A site. Goyangi loses that duel, but she still dishes out plenty as we're somehow down to a 3v3 after all the chaos, but Delaware have Spike.
We got the they've got the spike, and the offensive side is still a couple miles away before they even have a chance of taking control. A minute left on the clock. Ballin, 20 points of health to his name, looking to push in. There's not gonna be a lot of angles, not gonna be a lot of aggression that you can show with this situation, with this position. The spike has been left open. You're gonna go up against Harissa, or much rather everybody else first. He spots one. He should have gone for the other pick. That's where he could have had more success, but he can't really know where the other person is hiding. And of course, with Delaware come out on top with still 2 players alive in that 3 versus 3, they win the pistol round.
Yeah, and there were two really low members from Howard, so it's really difficult to bait around it. We're on the opposite side. Cosmic was very low, but still had Marissa and Kevster around to try and make that work. So good job by Delaware, picking up that pistol round. It did get dicey. I expected it to just go their way after they got spike control, but the fact Howard was able to get a couple in passing does make that more competitive, does make it a little scarier at the end of things for the Blue Hens, but still tons of control. And now we're going to see Howard work all together, already spotted out, hit by the fault line. I think it's 4 members stunned up. No immediate response, but still all the information gained.
I've never seen a 5-man push from this area. And look at that. The University of Delaware is like, you know what? Unexpected, but beatable very easily. I'm sure that he spotted the nozzle. The Omen's going to be taken care of very quickly. Lucal spots him, but doesn't get any damage done. BM shorty in his hand. He's got 2 bullets. Will he be able to survive? No, he doesn't survive the teleport as well. It's Delaware taking round number 2.
Everyone just spraying and spraying. I think the majority of those sprayers were coming from BM, just wanting to stay alive, but unfortunately does just get caught up between everything.
Alarm bot
As
out.
that's early, good lead for Delaware. Gonna see Goyanji on just a pistol, it seems. What if Kevster might drop a Spectre and see if they use that buy-up? I think the idea was to go for a round 4 or a round 3 operator. Instead, probably gonna go for on round 4 as so much strength on the team. But now this is Howard's chance. They've got the better guns. At least they should have mostly better guns, right? We see a Bulldog here still stronger than a Spectre. So these duels are going to matter, but considering Cosmic's all alone and everyone's marching, it's scary.
So we've got 4 pushing in from, at least 3 pushing in from short. This position, if he's not spotted, then this is gonna be a blast. Kenny Cosmic, however, does take him down. Kai is gonna find another one. That's the defense taken care of, and Delaware, they have lost the sight. Will they be able to make this retake happen when they've got the gun disadvantage? Navy Ash, where are you looking? There's one right behind you as well. Howard University, 4 versus 3. Delaware, they're definitely gonna go for this retake. It seems like Goyanji, they're looking for this peak, gonna fight off the turret first. It seems like Howard University, their main target here, they're pretty confident in them holding onto the side. They don't want to lose the guns.
Yeah, nice post plant. They've got a great crossfire set up. Goyanji is just a go, so she's doing what she can. But already, Harissa and Lucas on the peak managed to get a couple. It seems like Lucas just looking the wrong way for a second, as it will be a round on the board for Howard, but an expensive one at that. We'll see what they can put together as far as a buy. Gonna look like a lot of light shields, and there is the operator in hand for Kevster as well.
There it is, and of course, with that, is Howard University on the board. The defense was not able to make this retake, and that's what Howard University got to learn from, right? They got to understand what are the weaknesses and where can they win out. Because for a moment there, it did seem like Harissa and Lucas have got something going. They managed to find 2 in that round, so University of Delaware does show that even on a round disadvantage, even on a gun disadvantage, they can still win those duels. So gotta learn from that, gotta understand how Delaware is playing. Howard University looking to push into it inside. Goyanji takes care of 1, while Naviash and BM are gonna find 2, one with the shotgun, with the other one with the Phantom. Goyanji still holding on through the smoke, getting a couple of bullets in. BM, he's looking the wrong way. If he wants to take this breach down, he's gotta look a little towards his left, but he doesn't seem like he wants to push the smoke. Goyanji, very careful with their peeks. They know that somebody could be hiding, but BM's ran out of patience, and now he's run out of life. Kevster finds the trade. It's a 2 versus 3. Harissa have pushed towards side, and look at that. Everybody is playing from a couple of miles away. There's no way Harissa is able to take this down. Flashes, DKs, everything's coming in. Kevster knows this is done. This is a done round, so he's not even gonna try. And the Omen realizes soon after. Another round for Howard, and we're all tied up.
And that's a good response from Howard. Kevster going down. That's really unfortunate for Delaware. That was your operator. I don't think you're going to get it back. Yeah, I was going to say that Kevster holding on to the operator makes that round okay. But now, Howard just gets such a boon when it comes to their economy, right? They're happy to just stick BM onto this judge. They seem more comfortable with the shotguns anyway, and that can honestly be an ace up your sleeve sometimes in these kinds of positions where your opponents just aren't expecting a short-range scrapper in that judge. So we'll have to see if that's maybe an additional factor coming through. As, yeah, scrappy buy on the other side for Delaware. I think there's a Stinger, a couple sheriffs bought up. This would have been so much better with that operator, but instead, they're just going to have to stack up. This could be it.
Oh, it worked just for them out of 3 sides, 33% probability. They won it, but will they be able to win this round? It doesn't seem like it. It just seems like it's ending quicker. Harissa is going to take care of 1, but that's all they're going to get. Cosmic and the Killjoy still
planted.
a little ways to go, and they are going to decide to just hold it back. Great round there from Howard University. Managed to take the side back even when it was completely stacked.
Yeah, and this just came down to, I think, Delaware, their hold. think that they could have made a couple different decisions, having the Hunter's Fury firing as your teammates are trying to scrap on site. And I get the idea of you realize it's a multi-man rush, but you still are just going to be running into too many sightlines that are tough, as Kai's going to get rid of Cosmic. This is just done and dusted. Lucas, at the very least, did have one of the rifles, so can carry that over, was able to pick one up and can make sure they have a gun in hand for the next round. But Howard, I mean, they knew that they had the gun advantage. They could take a lot of these fights, and Delaware just weren't ready for that kind of speed. So numbers advantage or not, didn't wind up mattering.
A near flawless round here, only losing Neviage there early on. So the money's building up. And honestly, after that first round, you know that you need more than 6 to hold down a squad like University of Delaware when they go to offense. So Howard University, that economy is necessary, and the way they're building it up, that is the right way to go. 3-2, Howard in the lead.
Yeah, and this relative speed that's possible out of the Delaware team, I think does make them pretty scary when it comes to offense, just with the Breach, with the Jet, with the Silva, how much can crash onto site at once. But Howard doesn't have to worry about that for a little while. So far, they've just done a really good job of cutting holes into this defense. Now Goyanji, she's trying to wait as long as possible with that Seeker. Just couldn't quite get it, and now giving away the position. That's going to be Plant. Actually canceled for a second, I think, off of the step up. Will eventually come down, but that gave time for the team to rotate.
Yeah, they're basically caught up here from all sides. Let's see if they make this rotation happen. No, there's no rotation. The bomb's gone down. Kevster is taking care of some part of the side. Look at that. Everybody has gone away. A wise decision, to say the very least, but there is no stopping them. Kai finally takes care of one. Cosmic is going to take care of ball, and bomb has been defused half. And when it's half, you can make it full with just a few seconds. Howard University losing their players, losing the spike, and with that, losing that round. Delaware comes out on top. Amazing retake, to say the very least. 3-3 now, and Delaware, I'm not sure how they pull that up.
I think that it was just, I don't think Howard realized there was a half stick off of that initial attempt from Kevster. I think they assumed that the grenades did their job and made it so that the death came through before that, but instead there was only 4 seconds left, and Cosmic was able to stick it, and BM just a little behind with that judge in hand. I think that judge hits the team a second earlier. Maybe we don't see a 1 round for Delaware, is already Harissa getting confident, taking down Ballin, and Kevster might just get confident as well. Gonna run into BM, traded back down, but I think for Delaware, they're fine just keeping an advantage and getting into a later round spot that Howard just doesn't look super comfortable without other members.
Now the numbers advantage is gone. Delaware, they've got all the sites still under control, when Howard University, they don't have a lot of space under their belt. Everybody over at mid now. We do see them going to make this push, and Lucas is waiting for them with open arms. You know, the previous match is Yoru. We know what he's capable of, especially with this lineup that could be happening right about now. The alarm bot spots him, and the patient plays on this man are overwhelming, to say the very least. Let's see if Lucas can just walk in on them. Oh, he's going to get spotted. Neviage is going to find Harissa. Just like that, it's 3 versus 3. Kai's going to take care of Lucas. Lucas took a little too long to make that push happen. Goyanji's got an out to work. They could definitely go for this defuse, but do they go for this ult? No, they do not. Not just yet. This could be huge for Howard University if they can just stall them out for a little while longer. Finally, the ult goes out. There's the suppression. The trade does not come through. Neviash finds the kill. Cosmic is going to get the trade, though. Kenny Cosmic. There he is. 1 versus 1 against the Sova. Pros don't fake, and at this point, Cosmic is definitely not faking. He knows. Cosmic! A 180 turnaround to Cosmic's head. Both of them are Cosmic, okay? I was like, wait, am I saying something wrong? But Cosmic comes out on top with Delaware taking that round lead. What a flick.
Yeah, that was a clutch moment from Cosmic at the very end. But honestly, seeing Lucas just walk forward, I was like, you've got a lockdown in hand. You can try to play this a little safer. I mean, it works out for Delaware in the end. They get the round, in part thanks to Goyanji having that Rolling Thunder, but I think that was dicier than it needed to be. I think it definitely could have been a little cleaner from Delaware, but they get the round, so it still took a clutch up though, and you rarely want to be in those situations that you're forced to have an individual performance from one player. As now Lucas, as a judge, is going to get one, maybe look for a little more as Harissa snatches up a second down long. Once again, Howard just cut down early.
Last player standing.
Player
Kevster.
left. Kevster is going to take care of 2 more, and with that, Harissa is going to find the last player. University of Delaware just amping up the competition. It's just as we saw last game, they've taken multiple rounds in a row. It's 2-3, and they won 3 in a row. And looking at the economy, they're not stopping.
Alarm bot here.
No, Delaware is in such a comfortable position. They've got 3 members above 4,000, so that's, a couple buys already stocked up. And
This is
Howard
fun.
had some decent success after the pistol and the bonus, but just haven't been able to find much once on complete even footing with their opponents in the Blue Hens. As now Harissa already realizes there's probably a member or 2 creeping up. Lucas has this lockdown. We'll see if they use it.
Just pushing in. He's gonna find 1, but he definitely needs more. Oh my god. Confused as to where they're coming in from. Neviaj is gonna take care of him. Delaware 4 versus 3 on the retake. Howard University doing what they do best, playing from far away. And that strat has worked in the past, but we can also go back to that last round where they managed to make that defuse happen regardless. So this time the situation is a bit different. They've got the bomb planted in an open area, looking to take care of business, and BM is in a perfect position to just stop this defuse no matter what. Cosmic and they're still around. He's gonna jump down, raining fire upon them. Kevster's gonna find the trade, but will he survive this abomination that comes in from all sides? The 3 multi-spray. Kevster survives the first one. Cosmic taken care of. And in that 2 versus 1, Kevster is definitely gonna find this gun. Oh, the save.
That updraft might have been necessary just to get at the slightly higher where the bubble starts to curl back. I don't know, but that was tight at the last second.
Oh, yeah.
But a good round from Howard. I mean, Harissa just caught up top and unable to do much. Lucas as well. Just wasn't ready for the angle. Was just trying to play the refrag and didn't quite work out. And now we're seeing Kevster buy down. So that's gonna. This isn't, a super strong economic state for Delaware after that loss. So I think this is going to be a pretty big breaking round for both teams. As Kevster doesn't shoot the turret, doesn't want to give away this operator. And now Kai's there, and Kai's dead.
Kai is dead. Kevster is taking care of Kai. And with that, Delaware is looking to extend this dominating hand even further. 5-4 currently. And with that duelist, with that sentinel down, Delaware, they've got a little more control on the map. They have an idea as to where this team decides to head next. The Sova is the only player over at A site waiting to welcome Howard University. Cosmic, he's got an Hunter Fury as well, so he doesn't even need to peek in order to do some damage.
I've
But
got your trail.
if they can take care of him first, we'll find out. Let's see if they can do just that. Kenny and Neviash tweeting in. He's found the first one. Neviash's going to take care of the trade, but the bomb is going to go down regardless. BM goes up with a shotgun in his hand. He's going to take care of the op, and just like that, Howard is back in business. The Viper ult has been put down, but Lucas has got a present for them. It is it's ult versus ult. They've got a defender's killjoy launching up and pushing the players out. They're like, you like playing from far away? Try this.
Best way to flush the Viper right out of the pit. Use that lockdown, and now already got a tap down. There was the tension on the Viper. It's chaos. VM gets Goyangi to start. Delaware, this was their push in. They can't find the options. Finally, the kills start going their way, but Ballin's still here. Ballin will still try to defend. That first fight goes the wrong way, and the stick was to half. I think it's just in time, and Delaware sort of hang on with less than 2 seconds to go.
What a close round. I thought after that Naviash kill, that was it. I didn't even know Ballin was around. He should have been there much sooner, to say the very least. The duelist should have gone in first before the Sentinels, honestly, but he was a little too far away. Ballin came in a bit too late to stop that defuse, and just like that, Delaware now up by 2, 4-6. Last thing you want to see is Delaware taking the lead before going into.
Yeah, that is scary. I think Howard knows what happens when Delaware gets on offense and want to give themselves as much buffer room as possible. But so far, it's not looking great. Goyanji going down, though. That's a good start. Did only have a sheriff, so it's not like you're taking a vandal off the table. But it's still, one member down. That's one less you're gonna have to worry about as this round continues. And you can already see Howard. They're playing so much. They're playing so patiently. They know that they can't really afford to give anything away. BM is just gonna, I think, be a little ward here, just sitting down sewers, make sure no one pushes through.
God, it's gonna be really interesting. Look at that positioning from Howard University. Everyone as patient as possible. You want to keep them guessing as to where they're going. There's the ult going down. Lucas is gonna find it. Will they find the trade though? Doesn't seem to get. Howard University is in a tough spot. They're going to get this bomb down. Lucas gets another. He's playing like a duelist even on Killjoy. Ballin, one man to stop them all. Can he do something? Dashes away as he realizes a lot of players here. 2v4 Kai. It all comes down to you. You need at least 3. He's gonna get the first one. You need a couple more. Ballin's gonna find another. 2 versus 2. Harissa's on the flank. They've taken care of one, and they're ready to take on another. Kai, full health still in his back pocket, but the teleport is gonna do what needs to be done. The bomb's gonna go down, and Delaware is gonna take another round.
Yeah, very well played late round from Delaware, cutting off their opponents, but that still got scary when Ballin and Kai each able to get a kill of their own. I mean, of course, Kai being taking down Cosmic, that's expected when the Sova's inside the drone, but otherwise it was still a 2v2 at the very end of things, and you never want to be in that close of a situation. But Delaware, I don't think really mind. They still have full buys. Howard as well, pretty full buys, just Ballin with the light shields. So this is the make or break. If Howard can bring this to 7-5, they've got a real. I think they've still got a real chance. We've shown that they can pull rounds out, that they can put stuff together, and I think on defense they can try to be a little bit more reactive to Delaware. But Delaware, they've been so good, and Kevster taking perfect advantage of the I think that's the opposition wall, just using their own tricks against them as the Jet.
Man, I just get reminded of Bind with that Viper wall. Unfortunately, it seems like Kevster is taking all the benefits. He's showing all the benefits, and right now he's on the 4K. He's looking for the ace. One more kill. No, he does not get it. Kai is going to deny the ace, but will he be able to take the round off of that? I don't think so. It's a 1 versus 3. He's got the spike in his back pocket, but to be able to take it aside and then get the plant down, especially when you've got 3 players alive and scary players on each side. We've got Lucas at B, Goyanji over at A, and the Lurk got Harissa over at C. What do you do, Kai? It's your move. The alarm bot spots him. Kai needs to get the first one. Goyanji and both of them are gonna peek at the same time. Lucas is gonna take their head off, and with that, Delaware take a 4-round lead here in the first half.
Yeah, that's a really, really commanding start for Delaware on defense. I mean, some people say that Haven is defensive-sided just for how difficult it is to really play B site, and that it does give you some extra avenues with how linear the approaches are into A and C, that you can make it work on the defensive side. So Howard, I think they've got the tools to do that, especially considering their double controller and don't have as much information with the Sova. But on the other side, this also means that Cosmic has looked really good on this Sova, and on the attacking side, Sova is very difficult to counter on Haven. So Howard definitely has their work cut out for them, and it's going to have to start here in the pistol, because I think if Delaware wins this, we're suddenly looking at 10 rounds. We're suddenly looking at a 1 game.
Yeah, a 4-round lead for Delaware going into the win is an absolute must. Lucas, he's looking to do a lot of damage. The Lurk has been taken care of by the Lurker. To the Lurker. There they go, 4 versus 5. They've got the side control. Harissa is looking to peek in. Gotta check your corner. No, they do not. Kenny Cosmic is gonna find one. Harissa takes the trade. Lucas gets another one. All in Neviage is gonna take care of Lucas. It's a 3 versus 2. Howard University running out of manpower, and with that, Neviage, even CI, but look at that. Total health points don't even exceed 30. So as of right now, this should be free kills for Kevster. All he needs to do is peek out once, peek out twice. He gets both of them, and with that, he gets the round win.
Nice and easy for Kevster at the end of it. This is the sort of the worst case scenario for Howard. A confident Delaware in that last round, making the wrong call, pulling a player off site. As this is a point where you just can't get too in your own head, I think, if you're Howard. I don't like to see these investments. I'd rather you just stick as a team, have a full buy for the round after. But Ballin and Kenny, they're feeling it. It seems the rest of the team, that's going to be the call. Go for Stingers. Try to start winning outright here.
Placing swarm grenade.
But I can't say that I agree with it.
Force, Turbo. When did we see that? When did we see that last time?
Didn't work
Yeah.
last time.
Did it work? No. And Howard University, it doesn't seem like it all working this time. Harissa has taken care of both of the players. Lucas is on the lurk as well, and look at that. The lurkers have been taken care of. Bowling the last man alive with a scout in his hand and a dream to make this 1 versus 4 happen. Will he be able to take even a single kill in this situation when you've got Marshall and a 4 head? Osmake, he looks to spot him. He spotted, and Harissa takes the 3K, and with that takes Delaware to double digits in map number 2.
This is the time for Howard. We're gonna see the timeout come through. So this is the moment. This is when, as Howard, you have to have some sort of game plan coming through. Otherwise, Delaware is just going to finish up this sweep. And again, that first half on Bind, it felt like Howard just ran out of tricks. And now they're not on the attacking side. They're just on defense. They're gonna have to figure out just whatever defensive setup is going to, I guess, try and make the difference. It looks like they're going for a KJ anchor onto C, letting the Viper play A site. I don't hate that. I think Viper can cut off these lines. I think KJ does a much better job at holding Garage than a Viper would. And then this should, again, hopefully free up the Omen to sit up and be flexible, rotate to team, and take a little bit of proactivity. But of course, it is BM on that. So you're playing mostly short angles, the shotguns. It's a difficult spot for Howard. I think that it's possible, but again, very difficult, as Delaware have just looked really, really good. Once we made it to the second half on Bind, it's been all Delaware since.
Yeah, it really does, goes to show how well versed Delaware is with a map like Haven. You know, every single time we see this offensive push, they know where to look, they know where to peek, they know where to flash, and they know how to take care of the lurks, especially the lurks. Turbo. Every single time Howard University has looked to catch them off guard, they were the ones that were caught off guard by a random player just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, taking care of them. It's like they know, they're nowhere, Turbo.
Yeah, and this is also just Delaware recognizing what's the most likely rotate option, what's the most reasonable way to try and play this, as BM going against the grain just runs up with the judge, shuts down Kevster. Now gonna try and play for 2. I don't think that's the best decision. Instead, never mind, it's a great decision. Diving down onto 2 and takes away the spike as well. This is the kind of play you needed out of BM, but it gets immediately traded back, and that's not what you want to see.
My god, what was that from BM? But hey, it worked, right? As long as it worked, that's all you need. Got 1 kill for him. Lucas Harissa, they're looking to get this bomb down. Bowling, it all really comes down to him here. He needs this
Spike
peak.
planted.
He needs at least 2 frags here if the Sentinel can do something. But there they go. Here's the first frag. There's the first kill. Harissa taken care of. And that was the low health player giving all the information they can to this 2 versus 2 position. They don't know if the Killjoy is still on the backstab, but now these amount of footsteps that they've provided, that should definitely be enough. Bowling, he's gonna take care of business with his like defuse. Cosmic finds 1. Lucas takes care of another, and Delaware take round number 11. The duels won by both the players from Delaware really goes to show the skill that these players possess when it comes to these clutch situations.
Yeah, Delaware, they just kept their heads on straight. They held their crossfire, waited for the approach from the opposition, and fired when able. Now they've got full rifles across the board, and you're gonna see this scrappy half by Howard realizing, the best theory is to give yourself a really winning chance at making it all the way up to 12-12 with good buys as opposed to trying to get a half buy in here. And maybe it works out, but we've seen the half buys, the scrappy force downs just have not been strong enough from Howard. As now we'll see if they get a read.
My god, flashes, smokes, everything has been done. All you need to take care of the players over at C. Kevstar and Goyanji are gonna open things up by taking down 2 from Howard, leaving 3 on the retake. Here's BM pushing in, taken care by Kevstar. Goyanji's gonna find another one, and that leaves Kenny Cosmic to be the last man alive here before University of Delaware hit number 12 on that scoreboard. A stinger and a sheriff in his hand and a dream to make this side retake. He doesn't even want to go for it. He wants to go for the save, and at this point, there's not much you can do, especially when Delaware have been such a dominant force, an iron fist on a map like Haven as soon as they entered offensive side. We said it, right? We knew that as soon as Delaware entered offense, you do not want to be in a deficit. And at this point, with how they're playing, I feel like no matter what the result would have been of the first half, Delaware really still would have dominated one way or another.
That's what it feels like as we're going into what may very well be the last round. If we have any data from Bind, it should be the last round, as not a single round on offense was lost by Delaware. This would be going against that change, and then Howard would have to win 7 more in a row. They'd have to do what Delaware did, +1. And with Kai losing to Lucas, it's not off to a good start. C site's already open. This is going to have to be a retake attempted from Howard. Such a tough spot. Lucas is still lurking around, watching for these players. If he can catch an angle, this just makes it so difficult to play with the clock already working against Howard.
One more round. And it seems like Delaware, with a blink of an eye, they've got the seaside control, they've got everything in the back pocket. Lucas, I'm not even surprised. They outlurk the lurks every single time, and that's what they've done this time. Cosmic is going to take care of Fallen. That's the duelist down. BM has been taken care of, and a flick of the wrist to Kenny Cosmic's head is going to find Delaware the 13th round, and with that, the series in the 2-0 fashion. Delaware 13-4 on Haven, and I believe 13-6 on Bind. Great showing from the Blue Falcons.
Yeah, Blue Hens return to form. Got a win that they needed to have. I mean, this is certainly a confidence builder. It puts them back up into the positive, going from 3-3 to 4-3. That's going to feel good before the Thanksgiving break. And I think for Howard, there's a lot of positives you can take away from this, going against, last year's champions, seeing where they were able to take apart your strategy, see where your strategy fell flat. And I mean, this is what it feels like for Howard, is that they're facing a lot of tough opponents, but they're still learning, right? This is not the same Howard that we saw early last season when they just joined the league and could barely get around. Now they're really getting their set pieces. They're having these moments.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we said it even in the first half, it felt like that could have been a winning half for Howard if there were 2 mollies that were just a little bit tighter. So this is a team that's getting there. They're working, and they're certainly showing that you've got to walk into every week prepared.
Absolutely. This is the kind of preparation that I love to see from teams. Howard University had strats through and through. Unfortunately, the experience and just a little bit of that rank difference really did come to show with Delaware playing so much in these competitive leagues. So Howard University off to an amazing start here in week number 6. It doesn't matter. The scoreline was 2-0. All these games kept us on the edge of the season, at least for the first half, and they can work on their defense sooner rather than later. They've already improved their offense by a ton. So many strats being pulled off on a map like Bind, easier said than done. They have done a wonderful job. So, of course, heads need to be held high here. Howard University played amazing.
Yeah, they definitely, this is more footage to go back to the drawing room and keep on improving. As we're going to look to see if we can get a listen in to Delaware, as we'll try to set up an interview before our next matchup of the days. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We just saw Delaware take a fantastic 2-0 over Howard, and now we're joined by Lucas playing the Yoru on one, playing the KJ on the other. How you feeling after that win?
Feeling pretty good. Just had a, I guess, 4-game win streak now, so I think we're positive with our record.
Yep.
Mhm.
Uh,
Lucas, I've got to ask, how does it work? How does it work every single time when Delaware enters the offensive side, the tides shift, right? Everything is like Delaware, Delaware. We can hear the intimidation coming in. As soon as you enter the offensive side, it's an army of the 5 players. Wherever you go, you dominate. How does that happen?
well, I think we did have a little trouble on defense, especially on bind. We just kind of getting back into things after a busy week from most of us. But for attack, it's mostly coordination and just making sure our util is there and calming of what we're doing.
And I really have to ask the breach pick on Haven and the Euro pick instead of the Cipher. So how was that planned out?
Yoru was planned. I used to play chamber on that map, but I wasn't getting a lot of value on attack. So I offered my team the opportunity for me to play Yoru, and it's been working out since I'm able to, pressure the other side, but regain quickly the team to execute on the site.
Yeah, that's been good. It certainly showed to some great effect. But I mean, with you guys just able to pull out this win and now go back to positive, considering you guys had a rocky start to the season as the reigning EGFC Valorant champions, how has that sort of impacted you guys, if at all?
I think the rocky start was mostly just like a new team and getting everything situation with roles and whatever. But now we're kind of on a hot streak. I guess we're kind of very dominant on Haven, so I hope teams keep on peaking against us.
Oh, that's good to hear. You've got one of the core maps in your back pocket, and you guys had a fantastic win today. If there's anyone you'd like to shout out, floor is yours.
I guess just the team. We've become a long way since the start, and I like to see the improvement overall.
That's amazing. Constant improvement and a squad that's only gunning for that next championship. Thank you so much for joining us, Lucas.
No problem. Thank you for the questions.
And for everyone at home, that's it for this matchup. But there's still another fantastic one coming along as we've got Auburn up against UTK. And I'm not going to be covering that one, but Flater, you're still going to be around for that matchup.
Actually, we're both gonna be switching
Oh,
out.
we're both swapping out. Oops.
Yeah,
We're going to get a fresh new set for all y'all at home. But Flater, blast as always.
absolutely. Amazing, and we'll be back very soon. Stay tuned for another best of three here in Valorant.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, once again to another fantastic week here at EGF for some more, hopefully, as well, just fantastic Valorant. Sir Waltham, Rare Adam at it once again. Rare Adam, it feels like just a few weeks ago we were starting the season and already the end's already starting to be on the horizon.
Yeah, just as quickly as the semester passes for students in terms of their exams and everything, so does the Valorant season at that. And with the other Thanksgiving, as a Canadian, I can say that the other Thanksgiving on the horizon next week, that does start the holiday season, of course, and everyone starts to wrap everything up. So, this is the second last week. I'm excited to see what these two teams have.
Yes, and you talk about these two teams more specifically. We are talking about Auburn University and University of Tennessee. Now, looking at this numerically, Adam, I don't know if you know this, but I try to make myself out to be a numbers guy. Uh, I was actually counting these up. I was talking with you a little bit beforehand. Auburn actually looking like they have a pretty solid record every game they've played so far this season. I don't believe they've lost. Tennessee had a much more middling kind of 2-2, but one of those wins was off a surrendering or a forfeiting team, I should say. So, a lot of different directions this could possibly go, but statistically, I have to give the advantage to Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn is a school that has a relatively strong Valorant program at that. They did quite well in Red Bull Campus Clutch Delta, specifically making it to that offline LAN in Huntsville, Alabama. But for UTK, this is a school. I believe I talked to Economy, who is their captain, not playing today, I don't believe. Uh, she was mentioning that it's sort of a ragtag group of people that are just sort of getting into their stride here, so still trying to prove themselves just a little bit, but definitely going into this one, Auburn can be seen as those favorites, not only based on their record but also just based on their notability.
Well, notoriety certainly going to be doing you some good here at EGF. But as we look towards the future, we get to take a peek at what our next few maps will be for these teams. The next, I should say, 2, 3, if necessary, maps. And as we can see here on the screen coming up, Lotus, Ascent, and then, as necessary, Haven, the 3-point map. Well, I guess I should say our second 3-site map will be coming in if there is a tie between Lotus and Ascent.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen these maps a lot before.
Yeah.
Of note, with these two teams being collegiate teams as well, there was actually a stat from Plausible who said that Lotus was the most played map. I believe it was Lotus and Haven as the most played maps in all of CVAL. So I mean, that sort of carries over here. These teams sort of feeling confident with them, and I mean, at this point, when we see Lotus and Haven sort of dominating what teams are willing to play, that's when you sort of know that you got to shake it up just a little bit more. Whether that comes to fruition or not with the new update, probably what, January, February or so. We'll see what ends up happening there. Nonetheless, Lotus Haven, we've seen it so many times. We know what to expect.
Yeah, and even at that Ascent, it's a map that has been certainly around for quite a while. I believe it was the first new edition
Yes.
map to be included. So it's not like any of these are super undefined by any extent for probably any of these teams moving forward. But again, that's a good opportunity for the teams to really kind of show what they have in plans, what they've been perhaps practicing. Because at this excuse in the season, forget how the performances look. There's no excuse not to be prepared for these maps, Adam.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, these maps are really boiling down to fundamentals. And we talked about the record coming through from Auburn and them being 5-0. You would expect them to have better fundamentals because of that. Their record would prove that they're able to out aim, out duel, out frag their opponents, out strategize them at that. So I'm surprised that UTK didn't opt for something a little bit more off the wall there. I think in order of the pick and bans, that might have been why that happened. Sunset, I believe, was banned pretty early off the rip as well, so maybe not willing to pull out some of those crazier map picks for themselves. But nonetheless, going to Lotus, we sort of know what to expect at this point. Generally, we'll see that double controller be prevalent there, at least on the defensive side. Killjoy, despite all the Cypher nerfs, is still going to be your queen on Lotus on defense. For the opposite side, though, for UTK, haven't quite decided what they want to opt for yet.
And worth noting, I don't recall if I mentioned this when we were just talking about as the maps came up, but it's going to be Auburn on the defense for Lotus and Ascent. Then the sides will be a flipping. Haven will be starting off with Tennessee on the defense. As we can see, again, these compositions come to lock in here, and you're talking about the 2 controllers potentially for Lotus, but it looks like Tennessee not necessarily going to be leaning into that.
Yeah, I mean, major thing to point out is the fact that they've got a Chamber. Chamber has been picking up a lot more play recently. I mean, they way over nerfed him, I think, after his reign of terror for the longest time. For good reason, I think. But nonetheless, since then, it's been sort of a slow crawl back to the top for Chamber. And now starting to show up on Bind, starts to show up on Lotus a little bit. Some of you started to pull him out on Sunset as well. So there's a couple of comps where it does fit in. It really comes down to whether you're the better player, though, because Chamber's so reliant on those headhunters, especially on your eco rounds.
And speaking of those low money rounds, of course, we will be starting off, as every game of Valorant does, with a little bit of the first round pistol action. And so far, good idea, or it's a good vibe to see how these teams like to buy in these first few rounds. I'm seeing a couple of ghosts come in for the defending Auburn, and then the attacking Tennessee just one. The shield's coming up for the rest. So more focused on the equipment rather than the abilities coming through.
Interesting to see Vicious's buy here. They're just opting for Light Shield's 1 Headhunter and then the trademark. I suppose if you're starting on the defense, you don't really want to be sort of just blowing everything on your offensive utility. But at that, Mobimatic very quickly onto sites, able to get 1 for themselves. But look at this, 3 in reply, 2 of them on that snake bite of all things. And UTK are in shambles to start off this round already. Auburn's defense has been holding strong on this C site. Granted, I say that as a headshot comes through from Luke the Legend.
And Luke the Legend immediately getting forced out by that paint shell from the Rays, but I mean, we saw that aggressive commitment onto site for C. The attackers just were met immediately with that snake bite, with that killjoy setup. So much damage coming in just from those abilities. It was really tough to cope with for the attack. And, I mean, it's going to be looking even tougher as now the defense starts to get some real weaponry in hand.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're looking at Auburn there. Calypso just had a really nice setup there. I believe they went down regardless, but just the fact that everyone ran through the orb was already sort of decayed from that on top of the snake bite. Finding 2 kills with that is very rare at that. The UTK gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Something to note is that Tennessee were the ones to sort of pick the non-double controller comp here, even though they're on the attack. You sort of want more of that map control, especially on a map like Lotus, which does have some of these longer alleys, but Vicious gonna make that headhunter bullet count. Finds a pickup for themselves, and now Luke sitting with a bulldog. Gonna be trying to find some power behind that.
Yeah, I think just getting the weapons in your hand to get you more space here also provides you the opportunity to run more opponents up with their weapons, but not for Lurk. Lurk going to be getting 3 with the Guardian. J Boogie stuck all by themselves on this breach. No abilities. Save for that one, there's going to be regenerating in about 10 seconds, and that's going to make it very difficult. They still do have Spike in possession. But Auburn, they feel pretty confident. They don't have any too many people rotating off this point yet, and this bird's going to be giving them the information that the breach is there. Not able to get one is Boogie. Instead, it's going to be boosted, making sure that Auburn gets the second win as well.
Honestly, very good play coming through from the side of Auburn just to sort of recover after losing that bulldog early on. It was an aggressive play up there from 7, I believe it was, but instead Lurk able to hold it down, not lurking in those situations, just sort of holding the site for themselves. But now against the full buy, interesting option from Luke the Legend to not have any shields right now. Is that gonna stick?
I think
Luke does not have shields.
that is very...
That's whack.
Yeah, and this, especially since they had the cash for, I mean, obviously they had the cash for the light and the heavy, but I don't know. I think it may have just been a momentary lapse in judgment or not analyzing perhaps what they needed to buy there. But either way, University of Tennessee going to be taking this rather slow, trying to exchange those shots and boost. It does get taken down by Vicious, so a good start for the Tennessee squad.
And at the very least, they're using those better guns to their advantage, but nonetheless, there's still so much control being garnered over by the side of Auburn. This double controller, as you mentioned, to just find you so much space on the map. Granted, 7 gets a little bit too antsy pushing up. They'll get punished for their hubris there.
Cover going out.
Now, 4 members still pushing towards site. Rue holds down 1, but nonetheless, it will leave a very empty A site, prime for the planting.
I was definitely expecting to see a lurk moment there from Rue where they just get 3 with the sheriff. Maybe a little optimistic on my part.
Last player standing.
Taking that opportunity to get the spike down. Vicious managing to get 3 kills. Lurk knows where Vicious is based on the depth of their teammate in the Viper, but doesn't quite know exactly how they should take that angle. And they're going to be playing it slow, dropping the weapon, picking up a Vandal instead. Has the burst to try to gather a little bit of information, does so successfully, manages to pull the kill onto the chamber. Now gets stuck out here by the fault line from the breach. Gonna make it a little bit more difficult, and that gives the Rays all the opportunity they need to get that kill and ensure that the attackers come away on their rifle round.
Yeah, good recovery from Tennessee. At the very least, holding 3 of those rifles in their armories as well. Gonna bode well for the future. And of note, Vicious has that tour de force available as well. So, you know, it's effectively still a very full buy coming through for them. Opposite side, they'll finally be able to buy backup for themselves. I believe that's a Bulldog still in the inventory there. Nonetheless, it's most of a full buy. It's about as good as you can get. And if you're going to have anyone with that Bulldog, with that weaker weaponry, you're going to find the person who's just sitting on site with a whole bunch of damage waiting to be dropped.
And immediately it's going to be a nice eye coming out from Tennessee, getting some information here. But Luke managing to pull 1-2 and not quite able to find too much else behind that Viper screen, just trying to rain those shots in. But the damage may have already been done to Auburn. They're going to be reeling here on site A, and so far, that's the only site we've seen Tennessee really try to commit to in firm fashion. J Boogie using more of their abilities. The Aftershock trying to just get through safely onto the site. We can tell that there is nobody physically on site, but with one going down, Copimatic should be giving a good lead out towards
Last
Roof.
player
Immediately then
standing.
taken down, as is the Viper. Auburn University only has this Killjoy left standing, and it's gonna be that Bulldog, the one person that we were talking about not having that complete rifle.
And boosted in a 1v2. Is able to spot out one, upgrades the gun, but not enough time. It's actually an ace getting picked up there by Luke the Legend. So despite sort of the chaos of that round, Luke finds all 5 kills. Sort of unexpected. Sort of happened. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Luke the Legend, I'm not calling that unexpected. I'm calling that another day at the office. I'm calling that everyday business here, Adam. But I'm sure, you know, from what we saw coming out of Tennessee, maybe not the Omen we were perhaps expecting to pop off there in those most essential of moments. But either way, University of Tennessee going to be very happy about that result.
Yeah, and now, of course, with a save coming through from Auburn, UTK have an opportunity to sort of push themselves up into a lead for themselves. A couple of jump spots coming through here from Calypso, but oh, that's a nice shot from Boosted. Almost finds another one there for their trouble. Calypso gonna back off, but this time they know full well where those snake fights are gonna be. They're not gonna be falling to those, but decent amount of chip on the way in. Vicious.
Oh,
enemy lines. The timing on this might be everything. Vicious, turn around, buddy. And it's dead.
that is so fatal.
Oh,
Vicious
no.
doesn't check that one cubby above the box, and that Viper allowed to get 2. Sure, the numbers are looking even, but you don't want even if you're Tennessee and you've already committed as much as you have. Your opponents were looking, frankly, quite weak in the armory department. We talked about that being a little bit more of a save round. Now Auburn has the chance to come in here 2v2 potentially with equivalent weapons, and that's going to be very painful, especially since Tennessee hasn't put the spike down. That time pressure isn't being applied yet.
Yeah, and in fact, it's going to be Copiamatic popping the showstopper around the back end of this, trying to just maybe put a little bit more pressure down. But that does give away a sound cue. That rocket was thrown towards Waterfall.
Left.
Everyone's going to be rotating back over. While the sound cue is there, it doesn't mean that they're there to reply in time. And in fact, it's just going to be the plant over towards A. Incredibly safe stuff coming through GTK, but a quick answer from the shadows. Away in lobby. Gotta be patient with this one, though, because look how far away Raze is right now. You can't isolate these 1v1s unless Rue's just able to find timing on someone.
Yeah, I really want Rue and Sever to play in a cooperative fashion here. Copium gonna be holding to look towards that tree entry. Oh, but it looks like instead holding there and trying to get through the box. Eventually does. Good patience, good alertness by Rue. Tries to come through. Boogie trying to fire through, manages to find one. What is the second? A nice transfer coming in from Boogie, ensuring that clutch. It was looking a little bit scrappy from Tennessee, but Auburn, they put a lot of damage down for a safe round.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well played coming through from Auburn, especially that timing there. Vicious just didn't turn around that corner. Nice little corner found by Calypso. Nonetheless, it's going to be full buys coming the opposite way now. In fact, it's actually Cape Town who... Oh, no, never mind. Going to have some homies buy out for them there. Nonetheless, another full buy around. This is a chance for Auburn to sort of right the ship, get themselves back in the winning column here, because UTK, you give them a little bit too much momentum here. It's going to make that opposite side of the map be so much harder.
And immediately, that teleport to get behind those moves, trying to throw, again, more shots past that Viper wall. Really likes trying to pressure out that opposing Omen. Has not found too much success. I believe the Omen maybe took a little bit of damage, but not enough to really put them within too critical of a range. 4v4 now. The abilities used by the Killjoy to try to zone off B, but Vicious might have a hint as to the Killjoy playing anywhere near. Gotta have to be very careful though. Another aggressive, or rather another very upfront A attempt potentially coming through here from Tennessee. They're going to slowly be playing around tree, but they're hesitant to go through the door with that Viper wall up. I can't say I blame them. They might be potentially walking into a very bad situation.
Yeah, I mean, no matter which way you cut it, it's sort of a really weird situation across either side. There's been a very deep lurk up here from Vicious, but Boosted might have an inkling of a feeling of this. Everyone from the side of UTK is rotating opposite ways
30
here.
seconds left.
Going towards that C side. They're going to end up selecting B as their option. Our members very close by. Boosted, going to find timing, and Vicious cut down where they stand. 15 seconds left. Luke the Legend will find another one. The plant will not be completed and factored out. Time starting to run out. Calypso, by all the time in the world, there's very few seconds left to plant here. Actually can't even get back on site as J Boogie doesn't have the spike in hand. There will be no time left. And Auburn, they cheese it out any way that they can, but it's another one that's falling for them.
Yeah, I mean, these trades are getting very close between these two teams. I mean, we're seeing them get down to 2v2, 1v2 in a lot of these situations, and I mean, that's just going to put a big strain on both of these economies, and we're already starting to see that. I mean, I say already, we're about 6-7 rounds in, and I don't think I've seen anybody save over, it feels like I haven't seen anybody save over 4,000 at them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been back and forth at that, even with UTK winning 3 rounds in a row. They were all Pyrrhic victories, which means 1 member, 2 members were surviving. They were all sort of being forced to buy back up. They burned a tour de force on a round where, you know, they didn't maybe need to at that point, but now they've still got enough credits to sort of hold the line for now. If another round goes in favor of Auburn, though, that's going to be a very broke UTK trying to piece together what they can, get themselves back in the driver's seat. The way that they can do that, though, Breach Ultimate going to be huge if they want to execute onto this A site with 3 members there. J Boogie charging up the fault line for now. They've got some sort of set play. Look at these.
Yeah, we see a lot of abilities being kind of ready on the hip. But take note of the pivot we're seeing from Auburn. No longer putting that Omen forward towards the breakable door. Instead, going to be playing a little bit farther back towards that hallway area. They might have gotten the feeling that they got sprayed down a little bit too riskily every time. So perhaps trying to change things up. 7 trying to go in for some shots. Not quite finding anything. However, is very careful. Eventually back away. And here comes the Breach Ultimate trying to get sight at least a little bit more opened up for the attackers. And so far, shots going back and forth, but looks like it's going in favor of Tennessee. 7 tries to go in for the showstopper, but gets cut down in the middle of it.
30 seconds
Auburn
left.
only has the Viper left, and there's only so much you can do with that plant. We'll still be working on going it down,
Spike
but
planted.
keep Viper eyes out to be vicious, getting that information, the Fade, putting the pressure with those Prowlers as well. And this can be a very crucial time game with Calypso. Caught up by the grass from Fade. It's eventually going to be torn asunder by Copium Addicts.
Yeah, honestly, real good tether there from the Fade to just keep him in place, decay him up once again. And now, as we mentioned, despite Auburn sort of cheesing out that last round on a little bit of a light buy, back to the light buys they go. 7 was considering a little bit more of an investment here. Will opt for the Bulldog at the very least, but Auburn, despite their 5-0 record that we see in results, not looking so hot in the opener. Granted, Lotus very attacker-sided, usually about 8-4 there. This is sort of the expected result. If Auburn are able to keep it close going into the half, their attack is better off for themselves. They're going to be in good shape.
Well, Auburn only lacking by 1 round so far. Huge opportunity to get some momentum here. Not, however, if they keep losing their members early on, as they did with Boosted. B-Site might be a little bit more vulnerable here, but without Copium Addict, a little bit of damage pressure relieved from the attacker side. Luke gonna meet up with Lurk, and the Breach stun coming out onto both, but Luke able to land those shots. The classic just not quite enough for Lurk. And now with rifles in hand and smokes up for site progress, we're gonna be seeing Calypso slowly push, not push through the smoke just yet. We see that Omen kind of keeping eyes out. Look at a nice headshot from behind. Making a second. Calypso looking to really do some damage there successfully, as I might add. Didn't have the opportunity because of the positionings to grab a better weapon, though.
Yeah, Rue's coming around on this flank, though, but really there's no one who's sort of in the vicinity of this. No one's even looking at Rue's flank right now. It isn't very impactful at that. In fact, they're going to catch Calypso on the timing here. Vicious will shut it down. Depends on how much Rue really wants to invest this util. Will burn. At the very least, the Paranoia answered in kind by Luke the Legend, but Rue in a really rough spot. Has that Vandal in tow. Might just end up backing off for this one. Seems as if UTK are going to find themselves a 5th round here and barely missing on that time. Luke. Oh, whoa, whoa.
Oh, wow.
Wait a sec.
And, I mean, you talk about pure victories, that's just going to be pure puricism for Rue. No benefit there, but you do rob no benefit of round wins, I should say. But you do rob the rifles from University of Tennessee. And again, even if you're winning, you're getting bled dry for everything you can in these rounds, it feels.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting ending. I didn't think that Rue is going to get either of them. But instead, both of them sort of just walk into Rue at the same time, isolates the 1v1s, and once again, as you mentioned, the money situation for either one of these teams isn't a great spot. Luke the Legend, once again, going a Vandal no shields. I've heard of the light shield strategy. I have not heard of the no shield strategy.
There.
I'm pretty sure they're in the game for a reason.
Maybe some very advanced economy forward thinking here, but so far, I have to agree. I don't think we've seen the fruits of that labor necessarily come to bear yet. Vicious continuing to try to throw in with that chamber ult. Just huge threat means that these defenders can't necessarily get too much more space, but it doesn't seem like they necessarily want to. They are content to hold what position they have now as the attackers kind of fishing around for those opportunities to get any of the other sites. If this chamber can get a shot in, I'm sure they'll be happy to start being a little bit more present at C. However, it is going to be the first kills going in favor of Tennessee. And now with this, we're still not seeing the huge flood of manpower necessarily connecting in, although they are slowly making their way. The attackers are over to A. And the defenders being very disciplined, not over-rotating, and in fact changing out. Tennessee going to be missing one flip, so kind of caught all the way in the mix here between what feels like a bunch of blinds and status effects, but Ultimate going to be catching them. Nice snake bite onto tree, making sure that the attackers can't get in as quickly as they'd like.
Yeah, I mean, it's just trades on trades at this point, but Auburn starting to get the worst end of this once again. UTK sort of getting it all together. And side note, you talked about the shot from Chamber needing to land there. It did land on Taru, went through the mound, 22 HP, and a team will have to make some magic happen. No paranoia this time, has one teleport, one smoke to work with. At some point, you just have to maybe say, do you just save? Rue, not quite going to get that benefit. Well, no. Vicious. Inside the angle. Yep, there you go. Vicious shuts it down. And that's 6 now on the board for University of Tennessee Knoxville. In terms of passive pistol plus bonus, it's been 6-1 for UTK on rounds where people have generally better economies. And it just continues to build for them because now, once again, Auburn were on a little bit of a weird buy last time around, but 7 doesn't have credits to buy up. Boosted doesn't have credits to buy up here. They're just sort of stuck in a weird economical situation where no one really has any footing.
Yeah, and I feel like here at EGF, I've seen more than enough teams kind of screw themselves by not all being on that same purchase page, not all being quite in coordination with what they want to do. Raise very aggressively with those blasts. Absolutely. Gonna be swinging out with the paranoia, managing to get one, making a second as well. Copia now getting the showstopper in their favor, and what was looking like a pretty close competition between Auburn and Tennessee. So far, now Tennessee starting to slide away with Lurk. Has managed to get 2-3 kills with the Guardian before, but it's going to be a big ask for them to try to find it this time, especially when they've already been buried in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, Lurk did get a lot of those Guardian kills when his opponents had free guns. This time around, they had free guns because they carried them over from the last round. And now, in fact, we're just going to say, all right, let's take a little bit of a breather here. Let's think about what's going on. We talked about how back and forth the first 6-7 rounds of this game were, and no one really getting an economical advantage. But now, we look at UTK's economy. If we just press tab real quick, everyone's just full on their economy. All of them are basically full bought. Yep. There we go. Thank you to our observer, of course. Copium is maxed out. Cape Town is maxed out. J-Boogie's really the only one who isn't maxed out, but everyone else has enough to buy out for the rest of the half here. And that's really what's important for this side of UTK, is that they were able to recover after losing the first couple of rounds there. They were able to find their momentum on the attacking side. And while this may be sort of 8-4 expected value in terms of wins on attack, 9-3 is going to be a big hill to climb here, especially when you don't have as many free rounds to sort of give away. We look at the ultimates that they have. Yes, you can find a round with the Viper ult. Yes, you can maybe find a round with a Killjoy ultimate or something like that. But on the opposite side, they can just do the exact same thing. Vicious can go super aggressive, play crazy like that, burn through their economy, and then have a free op after 8 ult orbs.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking very, very strong for University of Tennessee right now. And I mean, it's not even like they have one player that's popping off. I mean, you see, 12 kills for both Copium and Luke, just to start things off in this first half, and it is a great start so far for them. And you see if they'll manage to pull that 9. Oh, but Luke's gonna be caught in a very tough spot. perhaps the went to the well one too many times. University of Tennessee going to be caught out by that play. Going to be, I believe it was the paranoia and the paint shells coming through. Going to be doing the lion's share of the damage on those, but University of Tennessee, they kind of have to pivot, see if they want to make a different maneuver coming through here. But it looks like Auburn actually pulled out a few of their members, or at least backed off a few of their members to try to regroup towards that A site. With one going down, though, and the Killjoy, no less, it's going to make it very difficult to continue going for this retake. But Calypso getting the chamber, a great start. Spike was planted for Mound, so the defenders are going to have to be very cautious.
Yeah, major thing is just this 3-stat coming through from Waterfall. Kopimatic trying to isolate the 1v1, is able to do so onto Calypso. They're just playing as a unit here, getting as much info as possible. Kopimatic will get a very sharp angle there, finds both of them. That's exactly what you want from your duelist. The nade will buy more space, buy more time as well. And Kopimatic looking for that fourth, will not be able to find it, but it's 8 rounds for UTK. They continue to march forth on this attacking side. What is that? It's 8 out of the last 9 rounds going in their favor. The momentum has definitely shifted from what was expected from Auburn, and UTK are absolutely rolling.
A gift. Yeah, I mean, UTK, you know, we talked about having a little bit of a rocky start, but I mean, they lost 2 rounds, and then one more, and like you said, one round out of the 9 that have been played most recently. That is a great role to be on if you're UTK. And it seems like they've... I mentioned earlier that they have really been leaning on this A. I don't think we've seen them hit B too much, largely because of the Killjoy presence. But oh my goodness, this is just going to be starting things off right with Calypso going down that Viper wall. Is going to make A a little bit more accessible, which, as I mentioned, Tennessee going to be very comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, Rue also took a shot as well from somewhere, forced it to use that secondary health bar in the sky. But Vicious is still lurking up. This is a lot of space being gained by this chamber. I don't think Boosted was fully aware that chamber was lurked up. Doesn't matter now, they're all giving away the sound cues. But C-Site completely primed for the taking. In fact, looking to even push up further. Vicious getting antsy with this nice little trap play coming through. Damage taken by Boosted. And oh, it's actually Boosted and Rue finding them on the outset. Now, here's your chance for Auburn to get another round back with a 4 before the half.
Oh, and Jacob's timing had to be pristine there. Oh! Wasn't quite counting on Rue, but was able to still get the kill. And a nice wraparound with takedown, able to get 2 and destroy the lockdown. It's all going to be up to the sky. Lurk going to be managed to shoot through the boxes, but didn't manage to take down Copium. And Copium now gets that information and immediately able to swing, isolate that fight, and come out victorious 9-3 for their team.
Yeah, fired a couple pot shots. Was like, oh, I didn't see the bloom show up, so I don't think there was anyone there. But in fact, it was all a ruse. Someone was still posted up there. Nonetheless, great bounce back from University of Tennessee Knoxville. Now, we need to see what Auburn can do on the opposite side of the map here. Of course, as we mentioned, generally seen as more of an attacker-sided map. Is it this favored towards the attackers? I don't really think so, but Auburn show up with another pistol win for themselves at the very least, get themselves to within 4, and then convert on a bonus potentially, just sort of get the ball rolling for themselves a little bit. It felt as if the ball started to roll, but then, I don't know, one of their dads showed up and was like, no, you're not allowed to go down this hill, it's too dangerous, and then they just didn't do anything after that. The snowball got, like, quashed out before it became a snowball. It was pretty small.
Yeah, I mean, the street lights started to come on, and they had to, you know, eventually go home before dinner got cold. Yeah, but... Yeah. You know, with a new half, perhaps comes a new opportunity to kick the can down the road. University of Tennessee looking to hold steady and see them taking a lot of space on that entryway towards A. And Auburn being a little bit conservative. That's perhaps expected after you lose your raise. That raise so good for using that entry with those blast packs to come through. Vicious not quite able to connect any shots, but does a good job at warding off the attackers. Again, just a little bit longer. That smoke certainly not going to help things. And now the Fade, the Omen, both going to be keeping eyes towards this entry, making it very difficult for that Viper to get any information.
Yeah, minus 600 there for Vicious, unfortunately, but honestly, more than has made up for it with the use of that tour de force and past round. Calypso forced all the way back off on this lurk, but look at how far they've moved up. Well, look how little they've actually moved up on the rest of the map. It's been a minute into this round. I thought they were pushing up onto site, but Lurk says, no, we're going to back off once again. Auburn are playing this so slow. I worry that it gets a little bit too slow at a certain point.
Yeah, I think it looked a little bit hairy once they lost their raise. Like I said, you don't have that opportunity to really get in there as aggressive as you'd like. Calypso going to be hearing the door break, knows that there's something right at the entryway for it, but that Omen's actually just going to decide to leave and rotate towards that main attacker entry. Now with the spike going down, it's still going to be looking very difficult for Auburn. That alarm bot didn't quite get the information for boosted that they needed to.
Remaining.
Vicious does get taken down. Diffuse pressure is being put onto Calypso here, but J Boogie gonna be ensuring that the Ghost gets the kills and Kobe-Matic gets it in. Diffuse.
Now for Auburn, you're really looking down double digits already. This is a struggle against AUTK, despite their start. It just hasn't really been gelling together for them. And now I question whether a force is potentially in play for the side of Auburn. Just try and catch them off guard a little bit here. But even then, yeah, I think you have to force up. I look at the buys that are coming through the opposite side. It's one Guardian, really, from Kobe-Matic. If you're able to avoid that, you're going to be in great shape. So now, a bunch of Stingers, Spectre coming through, one share full shields here. We'll have to see if Auburn are able to potentially come through with a little bit of a thrifty for themselves here. Granted, this long angle on C isn't really going to be favoring those Stingers there, but Vicious overheating just a little bit. Takes a whole bunch of damage, has to back up. Actually gets taken down. Calypso just sprinting in.
Taking down that chamber, good, but perhaps not a shoo-in to lock this round down, and even then you still have quite a ways to climb. But 1 foot in front of the other. Auburn gets that spike down. University of Tennessee have 4 members to answer with. Again, that chamber getting taken out.
There.
Looks a little bit tough since I believe we're seeing most of Auburn stay still pretty compact on site. It's going to be the Killjoy, it's going to be the Fade. Trying to play a little bit more forward, given those Stingers are still in hand.
Take hold.
Abilities coming out, a lot of abilities coming out from the defense, but the attackers managed to pull 2 down, and Auburn University actually going to be coming out and showing that nation goes out, so it's the round they needed to win, and fortunately the buys they had were just enough.
Yeah, just enough at that. I like how you point that out, because it was quite messy. Of course, you just had to get what you could. There was a couple of Spectres left around that they were able to upgrade to. But even still, you look at Calypso and Seven, they're the ones who are upgrading to the Vandals at this point. That's a very risky purchase, because if you lose them or something, it's kind of hard to cycle them around. Granted, you're going up against Classic, so I think you're going to be fine. But still, sometimes it's one of those things where you're just like, yeah, we know that they don't have money, but we also don't really have a whole lot of money. Let's just buy Sheriff and try and hope that our 55 body shots are going to be a little bit more. Rue actually is able to find a great angle! Rue finds 3! And all of a sudden it's Vicious left to pick up an orb and try and prevent himself from dying to anyone else but the bomb.
Yeah, I mean, this would have to be the most incredible play coming out from Vicious to pull as much utility as they need to really have an impact on Auburn. Auburn going to be feeling very happy about that. It looked like a large portion of the defending team was just posted up on A, ready for the swarm. And Auburn were just using their quick movement abilities, that Omen Teleport in particular, and the Spectre to just lay out everybody that they caught sight of.
Vicious, I guess, will try and find what they can. They have 8 bullets in the chamber at the very least, but forced off the angle. At a certain point, you just sort of stand there and you die to the spike. Not going to be the case. Burns 150 credits while they're at it. And Auburn's starting to get back in the swing of things. Granted, it is far too early to call it a comeback.
I would definitely have to agree. I mean, that chamber, like I said, you're going to have such a tough time going in there. I mean, relatively speaking, the amount of cash you waste, very light, very limited. You're still going to be economically fine. But I mean, in some instances, especially if the shoes were on the other feet, Auburn would definitely need to be a lot more conservative about how they're spending their money. Not quite the case, however, as Auburn now a little bit in the driver's seat, have an opportunity. Big blind comes through, big paranoia as well. A lot of disorientation going over towards Tennessee. You can see Copium weared down to about third quarter maybe up there. It's actually going to be the Omen for Auburn. Getting caught out there, University of Tennessee perhaps anticipating that, still knowing that those ruins were being well played around.
Now, in a little bit of a dicey situation. Doesn't quite have as much cover as they'd like, but no one's on the flank. They're just 4 stacked up here, potentially rotating over towards B, and now Luke going to be under a little bit of duress. Will they find the angle in time? Vicious is on site as well, but Luke
That one's dead.
a little bit of an off angle. Look at the headhunters there. It's 2 picked
One
up. Luke
enemy
picking up the 3rd, and will find the last one. University of Tennessee Knoxville do not go quietly into the night thus far. They recover, get themselves to 11. That round was all because of the headhunter there. 300 credits for 400 credits worth of kills. That's a profit if you've ever seen it.
Big stonks.
That works.
As now we look towards this round, not going to necessarily destroy Auburn's economy. As we can see, the rifle still being purchased up armor as well. But I mean, they're getting to their midnight hour. The clock's almost hitting 12, and that is not one site Auburn will want to see. They still have long ways to go, and the University of Tennessee deciding to pull their members away from that site. It's a bit forward push coming in from the race. Oh, you're going to be managing to find 2, and we're right behind them, ready to clean up. This is looking nasty from Tennessee, and they're going to be coming out with a very fast round win.
Yeah, I mean, the clock struck 12 as soon as you mentioned it there, and now they're worried about the clock sort of rolling over a little bit too far. You know, sometimes you get into the reality where it's just scary, and you're like, I don't want to be in this one. They're down 7 rounds. They've got him bound to Miracle, and the buy that they've got in tow is not pretty at that. It's a lot of light shields, 3 Bulldogs, a Guardian, and a Vandal at the very least, but Vicious has enough for an Operator as well. They're not even going to bother. They're just going to pick up a rifle that was left on the ground. This is an uphill road. This is a mountain to climb for Auburn. Last I checked, around Auburn, there's not really a whole lot of mountains, so I don't know if they're really up for the task of that. Come down to their composure at that. Vicious, with the Operator, though, will be retreating wisely.
Trademark immediately going to be picked up by the attacking team. That chamber completely cleared off of the site. Showstopper goes out. Doesn't quite think it's into anything. In particular, have the discipline coming in from the Viper, managing to pick up 2. I might have done some good work for Auburn here, especially considering the chamber looking to be extremely low health. Won't be able to take too aggressive of a fight. J Boogie, Luke have to play very carefully here. Rue with the headshot doesn't quite get the kill, however. Chamber lost there, as does Rue pick up another. J Boogie not going to be ensuring that their team wins it on this round. It'll have to be another that we go to.
Yeah, at the very least, Auburn are able to win in that final hour. It is a decent win as well. It's not too costly for them. It's still going to not be the greatest of buys for everyone. Some people will have to drop down the light shields to buy it for other people or get their util, all that jazz. But I mean, for the side of UTK, you've got so many rounds to work with. You don't have to be overly aggressive here. And even with the fact that Vicious has picked up that Operator, I don't think that's too aggressive yet, because you still have 6 rounds in hand. Might as well try and just win it on your own terms. Quick push on to B site. 7 already slowed up, but Luke the Legend just sort of hiding out, hunkering down for now. Gets spotted out, and there you go. Luke the Legend is a legend of the past. Plant goes down to B.
It's a little harsh, but I agree, as that Showstopper going to be turning them into a fine powder. Now, looking University of Tennessee has to come in with some sort of response here. Going into the Viper's Pit might be a little bit tough here. Cape Town going to be throwing in the Fade ultimate. But it causes a little bit of disorientation as necessary. Powers quick follow up, and immediately Auburn coming in with another kill in their favor. It is traded out. Still out and around. That Viper still crucially standing. That means the Viper's Pit is going to be allowed to hold 4. Now it's just going to be Vicious with that pulling themselves out of a tough situation. Perhaps a bit optimistic from Rue to try to take these angles, knowing the chamber continues to push this, but with the final shot, it's going to be that Sky, ensuring that op does not stay in the hands of UTK.
And now, finally, for UTK, they're forced back into their pockets a little bit here. You can see some of them are like, yeah, I can buy. Oh, yeah. And look at the rest of the team. Oh, no, you guys can't buy. Let's not do that. It's going to be a little bit of a save round. I believe it's one member who's buying up a sort of a hero rifle at that. A couple of hero rifles, in fact. We'll see what sort of efficacy they're able to find in this sort of round. But nonetheless, Auburn making it interesting at the very least. Pulling us a little bit longer, showing, if anything, this could be momentum they're building for the next map as well.
Oh, certainly. I mean, if we do see that second, a long second, or potentially that third map, it's definitely the stamina is gonna have a consideration here. We're gonna be feeling in a paranoia. Trying to get a bit of clearance from the attackers, but immediately torn asunder by Calypso. With that, attacker's getting 2, 3 now. UTK are on this rotation towards A, and it's gonna be that Killjoy not making it easy for them as they try to pass through spawn, but one does drop that Omen. No smoke available.
Player
That means
standing.
the retake might be a bit easier, but J Boogie gonna have the opportunity to just hang out here, and they have a rifle in hand. They might just hold on to that if they want to get the vibe that, you know, maybe a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Yeah, granted. Nice little flank coming around the back from Boosted. Jay Boogie, are you aware of who you are? But it doesn't matter. Boosted gonna be able to find it. Now things start to tighten up a little bit there. We're in the Thanksgiving season. They ate dinner, and now all of a sudden they're feeling a little bit too bloated. Their pants don't fit on. They gotta unzip them a little bit there just to make sure they can fit in the car on the way back. Because all of a sudden they're starting to feel a little bit lethargic here. It feels like Auburn are just sort of outpacing them at this point. I promise that analogy was going exactly that direction. Okay, nonetheless, Auburn still have a little bit of work to do. It's going to be full buys on both sides at the very least. So even playing field here, UTK, this is your chance to sort of shut it down and keep that momentum in check.
Say even playing field, but not to be a pessimist. UTK has the comfort of knowing they still have 5 more rounds before things are out of the weeds for them, and they're not starting off hot despite that. It's going to be that chamber going down quite early. Heals coming in from the sky. Luke going to be using that Omen to try to perhaps get a little bit better positioning, a quicker response, as well throwing the smoke up, blocking off that main entryway, and this is where not having that sentinel for University of Tennessee might really come back. That Killjoy could have really applied some pressure here. Even the Viper, as we saw the snake bites in the first round, really not doing as much as it surely could have. Attackers going to be using that Killjoy lockdown to try to get some position, but Drew managing to get the fade on the wraparound.
Spike planted.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible ultimate. Normally expect the Omen to be behind you, but instead it was right in their face. Just on the wrong side of the map at that point. Jay Boogie now having to do a lot of work here to try and get themselves back on site with Opium Inhaler. It's gonna be 1, it's gonna be 2, in fact. And now, all of a sudden, maybe Thanksgiving dinner has finally started to wear off. They went to the gym, they said, okay, yep, it's time to get out of here. Granted, this post plant is going to be absolutely brutal. Not a lot of time left here. Jay Boogie has that. Oh, yeah, they're just not gonna have a chance there. Decayed all the way down.
Team A.
Just gonna burn down to the nades, and hey, Auburn. I said, now there's dessert. You can stay.
And I mean, you know, mentioning that post plant situation right there, it is probably the most essential that the Viper and the Killjoy are the last 2 alive in that situation. You hate to lose the members that you do, but because the Viper Orb, because the Killjoy Nano Swarm, because the Snake Bites are still up and in the game, it makes it impossible, no matter if you were to get those 2 kills immediately, for the defuse to come through with the time they had.
And once again, sort of back on their resources a little bit. Granted, those ultimates are going to be what I'm really focused on here. The good thing about them pushing A, at least for the side of UTK, is that it's a free roll for Chamber. Chamber's guaranteed to have that ultimate next round. So you've got potentially another buy in the inventory there. But at the same time, would you rather just win the game already? That's the opposite side of the coin there. A little bit of a slower push from Auburn. They slow it down.
Winning's always nice, but Auburn perhaps going for a little bit of a tone shift here. They push that Raze pretty far into ruins.
I've got your trail.
Quite find a whole lot. Now Raze immediately suffered a lot of pressure, so perhaps looking to change the tempo up. Not going to quite work for Tennessee here, as they managed to lose their chamber once again. Showstopper goes out, manages to get one after Boosted took the shot from the Sheriff. It's going to be the lob coming in from the paint shell lurk. We're going to push up towards that Omen smoke. We still haven't even seen Spike go down. No, instead it's going to be the Viper wrapping it around to C. So it's actually going to be a stemming of the tides here from Rue and from Lurk, trying to make sure that there's as much resistance for Tennessee to get anywhere near that Spike as long as possible. That being said, they have now nestled themselves nice and safely onto point. You just have to wait for that response from Tennessee, and the longer it takes, the happier they are.
Exactly. And 2 Sheriffs, you got to land those 1-taps. Site is completely clear. They're not even bothering to peek this. It just puts so much more anxiety into the side of UTK if they're trying to go for this defuse. Smoke is out on the bomb.
Oh, no.
Spotted out where one is. It's gonna be one traded, but look at this, Kobe-matic. He just tried to
No.
stick it here. He's gonna stick it all the way. And that's all she wrote
Oh.
here.
Defenders
UTK clutch it out with a ninja. It's a 13-9 victory for themselves. And once again, Thanksgiving dinner might have given them a couple extra rounds there to play, but nonetheless, at the end of it all, Christmas comes nonetheless, and it's Christmas for UTK as they come away with a victory.
Oh man, that is. I kind of want to use the word disappointing, but not like, the crowd's disappointed. Auburn was on such a hot streak, and the fact that they just didn't have the right spray into the Omen smoke as the diffuse was coming through and things were looking so good for them. I talked about just the round before how essential it was that the Killjoy and the Viper both managed to stay alive for those post-plant situations. Well, the Killjoy dies early. The Viper dies trying to set up their orb, so that means that there's no snake bites all of a sudden. You can blind, you can maybe throw a Trailblazer, but that's not going to do enough unless the sky is, or the diffuser rather, was dangerously low. Just such a sad moment for Auburn, but still an amazing comeback.
Yeah, it was a great attempt, and at the very least, it showed why they are a team that is 5-0. They have that ability to sort of maintain their composure. Granted, going down 9-3 is never. We can talk about the curse all we want, but eventually it gets back to being sort of close at that 12-9 at that. But nonetheless, it's just too much. You've dug yourself too big of a hole to be able to get out of it. And at least for University of Tennessee, they were just able to hold the line there with a little bit of a disappointing end for us at the very least. I would have liked to see just the kills come through, but nonetheless, it's a win's a win at the end of the day. They come away with it, and now with that map advantage, you go over to Ascent, which once again can be a little bit of a puggy map considering how experienced these teams are with it.
It certainly can, and we're going to get a good view at how these teams operate on Ascent here, folks, on the other side of this break, but we will be right back, so make sure you stick around. Hello, folks. Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us through the break. A fascinating set of matches between Auburn and Tennessee here so far, Adam. I mean, Lotus was thrilled to watch, although in kind of a weird way, both halves seemed very one-sided.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an interesting turnout. I mean, as expected on Lotus, it is quite attacker-sided still, but sort of that fake comeback to come through from Auburn for a little bit there. They started to make us sort of quake in our boots as to a long overtime-ridden game, but nonetheless, eventually UTK were able to sort of shut it down. But now as we shift over to Ascent, the tables swap a little bit here, where defense is sort of your favorite side here. Very quick rotations, very quick to move around the map. We'll see if that plays into Auburn's style a little bit better here, because it just felt as if UTK were just a bit quicker on the punch every single time.
Yeah, and fortunately for Auburn, they will be starting off on that defense side to start, so hopefully getting themselves started on the hot foot there, to give themselves a little bit of bounce back, perhaps put themselves in a much more fair spot, one of the two.
Yeah, I think that's a major thing that we've got to keep thinking about at this point between these two teams, especially as we get later on into the season. As we said, it comes down to like your fundamentals at that, and UTK showed that they've got the fundamentals just as much as Auburn. It might just be a case where UTK just had different strategies. They were able to come through with a couple of different plays for themselves. They were able to sort of catch them off guard a little bit more, and that might be sort of the difference maker that will come down to Ascent.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got to kind of consider. Well, let me ask you here, Adam. Do you think that there were any kind of particular vulnerabilities for Auburn or Tennessee that you think we should be looking out for as it applies to Ascent now?
Yeah, I guess the major vulnerability, or yeah, that would see coming through from Auburn was just the fact that their rotations were a little bit lackluster. I don't want to say they were too slow. They were just lacking in some departments. They didn't really have that punch that you want to see coming through from the side of Auburn there, especially a team that is 5-0. But this is wow, that's a Phoenix.
That is very much so a Phoenix coming through here. So it's going to be the double duelist for the side of Auburn, double initiator. Conversely, for the side of Tennessee, and Sova, that feels very familiar on Ascent to me, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, having the Sova on both sides there, it's expected. It's the best initiator agent there. You just get so much information. It's more so the fact that you're giving up the KO, which also gives you just as much information for a Phoenix. That surprises me a little bit, especially with them starting on the defense here. We're going to probably see Seven just sort of run it down as quickly as possible, trying to get as much information. Whether that is successful or not is the real question. My major, I guess not qualm, but more so quirk about this Auburn comp is the fact that Boosted was playing Killjoy last map and is now playing Jet. Calypso, who played Viper, is now on Killjoy. Sort of the rotations of roles is always quite interesting to see, especially coming through from a team like Auburn, who, as we mentioned, 5-0 in the season. You'd expect them to sort of have their roles hammered out a little bit more, but even still, they're testing the waters a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, we're 7 weeks into an about 8-week season. Perhaps not the time to be showing that you're still a little bit experimental with it. However, as we get started into this first round, University of Tennessee, a little bit more of a default style here, not necessarily saddling all the way up to that A. Now managing to get the shot out onto 7. Kills going back and forth, but Vicious should be able to pick up a ghost from one of their fallen teammates. B now going to be looking perhaps a little bit weaker, knowing that 2 fell at that entryway, but it doesn't really matter. University of Tennessee slowly but surely making their way towards that A kill. Or the attacking University of Tennessee will still be on the network, slowly wrapping around group. Manages to stay up, which means they managed to potentially throw up some smokes, but no. Jay Bogey and company already going to have the opportunity to get onto point. Get that spike down as well. Vicious barely has enough time with that weapon swap through. Not going to be able to connect with the ghost despite that recon coming through. Lurk throwing out a little bit of shock of their own. Has to keep their eyes peeled in 2 different directions unless they get closer and closer to that archway. But not going to quite be the case. Eventually taken down with a shot from the car.
Yeah, honestly, well played once again from UTK, sort of pulling the wool over their eyes. Quick rotations, or timely rotations, I think is the better word for it. They're just able to sort of catch Auburn napping a little bit there. Of course, leads to a win for themselves. As we mentioned, it is a little bit more defensive-sided on Ascent here, but nonetheless, Pistol is always just sort of a 50-50. Whoever has the better sort of set plays can usually come away with it. Kopimatic, though, thinking about that Heavy Guardian, will opt for the Marshal instead, and immediately, they're looking tiles, they're looking for some action. At the very least, with information, that 7 is there. Whether the peak comes through or not is yet to be determined. Will not opt for the curveball, might not even have it, and backs off.
And that in a very micro sense, may have been the fault of the KO. Didn't give that Phoenix full time to expose themselves out of that catwalk. But Calypso able to take down Vicious. Nice opportunity there. Has to make a dangerous cross if they want to get that Spectre. However, the smoke will come up, well communicated with their team, and Copium able to get those right clicks connected, synced into the Killjoy. Nice headshot coming through. Immediately going to be dropping that Marshall, but with 1 loss apiece, the attacker is still not getting too aggressive, too eager to push onto either site just yet. And Tennessee do have a very open B site to work with if they so choose.
7 sort of wrapped around back to mid, but misses timing. At the very least, on to B. There's 2 members on B. Actually, the cross gonna come through, and 7 cuts down Jay Boogie. That's a little bit of a concern, but now Kokomatic through spawn is able to find the long-range Spectre kill. That spike is in no man's land. No one was watching it, but B-site will now be primed for the taking here. It is a 3v3 at the very least. But with that Killjoy taken down, you don't really have the same sight hold, and Kopimatic is on a nice, nifty little angle here, potentially looking to catch someone off guard.
10
Worth
seconds
noting, the
left.
attacking team still has their Killjoy up, so a lot of opportunity to gather information, make it all that more difficult for the defenders to kind of pierce into this site. Luke just waiting for the pass through their smoke to hit the paranoia. It's going to be all three members. Not sure if they're necessarily expecting that smoke goes up right behind them. But Kopium manages to connect on 2 on to 3. That's an ace for Kopium-Addict. And just like that, things might have been looking a bit hairy, but University of Tennessee not going to let go of the bag.
The 2 aces that we've seen just sort of come out of, and they're like, what, 2 Ks, you're just chilling, and then all of a sudden it's an ace. Sometimes that's exactly what you need, and Kopium-Addict just able to find that spray transfer with the Spectre. Significantly easier, of course. It is an SMG, doesn't do as much damage, but still very impressive to see that come through. Definitely want to keep those rounds that you're buying up in your favor. And now 3 Spectres carrying over into the next round. They're just going to run it on to B here. They're going to run right into the teeth of this Sova Phoenix setup here. And immediately, they're just forced all the way back, burning so much util to just sort of force them off these angles. Kopium-Addict, of course, the one leading the charge.
Yeah, and 7 just seems like they're not able to keep their hit here. And immediately dash through. Gets them taken down. 7 having to play so far forward because of that curveball. J-Boogie trying to get themselves positioned up towards Market. Catches the skull of Root. It's going to be all of J-Boogie. Not for long, however, that finisher going to be coming through. I believe it's the cryo freeze? What's that? Cryostasis, that's it. Yeah.
Beloved by high elo players everywhere. They say it's one of those aimbot skins, you know. Everyone, there's so many. Okay, I want your opinions on what you think the most aimbot skin is. Because some people are like, oh, Prelude to Chaos just feels so good. Other people are like, yeah, it's Cryostasis.
Okay.
What's your sort of aimbot skin like?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna give you a meme answer, and you're probably gonna hate me for it.
Go for it.
Xeno Hunter because it has a heartbeat sensor.
Okay. I was gonna say Smite, but you know, at that point, that's even more troll at that point. Smite Phantom goes hard with the ride. I'll put it that way. You're real silly when you pull that out, but.
And now Auburn could probably use some of those aimbot weapons a little bit for themselves, as they're still going to be struggling to regain some composure. Still only down by 1 round, but a lot of presence being put down. University of Tennessee taking down 7. 7, I feel like they have to keep playing forward with this Phoenix, and it's a very difficult position to really utilize here with the pressure that University of Tennessee is getting from KO and Killjoy.
Yeah, now Lurk is in a really precarious spot because look, just 4 members are bearing their fangs down. Gets
Spike
1 at the very
down,
least, but will be taken down for their troubles. Spike immediately recovered, and now 4v2. A couple of the what are these? I just call them the monkey vandals because Wukong pops up on these. A couple of these. I don't. They're gonna need aimbot on these skins if they want to clutch it out. Valiant Hero. That's what it is.
Oh, I also like the Araxis, but that's neither here nor there. What is here? It's Calypso trying to get on the site, but it's going to be using that walk. Copium's going to be here and then crouches down, but oh my god, Calypso not caught off guard by it. Very ready for it. It's a 2v2 Killjoy available for both teams. Sova versus Jet's going to be the difference in composition. Calypso set up, but that Spike is ticking down faster and faster. J-Boogie has the read on Calypso, but not going to be able to get the kill. It's going to be up to this Jet, but doesn't quite get the opportunity to check Cape Town, who delivers that shot with the Phantom. Not going to die to that Spike.
Will end up staying alive, and UTK once again on their buy back. They're going to be able to find a round for themselves. And now Kopium-Addict, Jet Knives, hey, same stuff as we saw from Vicious last time around, where they're just able to buy out for the homies, use their ultimate as their combat tool. Kopium-Addict going to do the exact same thing, and interestingly enough, most of the time you'd expect the KO to sort of shut down the Jet on the opposite side. There is no KO for Auburn, so yeah, sure, he can blind you, but I don't know. I'd rather just not have the knives a thing for a while, and all of a sudden Jet's just running around with a classic, looking really silly.
Looking, feeling, all very silly, but the Phoenix, again, I feel like 7's been one of the first members to die fairly consistently throughout all of these fights. That's exactly what we saw this round. That Sova kind of has that Killjoy pinned down, but it's a Sheriff versus, I believe, the Vandal coming through from that Killjoy. So Calypso trying to push through the smoke, sees the Sova. Perhaps he's a little bit too tunnel focused on that immediately gets taken down. Rune trying to equalize things out with his Guardian, manages to do so a little bit more successfully now with the Soba having the spike. It's going to be very quickly off of A. Looks like a wrap through market onto B.
Just going to sort of cover their bases at that. Cape Town has lockdown as well, so if they so opt to do so, they can secure themselves up around with a late lockdown into the round, potentially put more pressure onto Auburn. And of course, with them not having the greatest of the guns, they do have a very reasonable angle to just collect some guns, sort of save up from there, but they feel as if they've got enough time. They've got the confidence to be able to do so. The good thing about the door being closed is they do have the option to lock down. You've got to break the door and then break the lockdown. That is exactly what's going to happen there. And now Cape Town has bought his team 12 seconds. In fact, he buys them just enough space for Jay Boogie to line him up, knock him down. It's 4 for UTK.
Let's be sincere here. As long as UTK wanted it bad enough, with the Killjoy ult and the Soba ult on, there was very less, like, it was a virtual impossibility Auburn was going to have enough time. Sure, you go in with the lockdown, but then immediately you face that pressure, like we saw from Jay Boogie. Jay Boogie doesn't put that pressure up, just hides back towards that B main entryway. As soon as the defuse starts coming through, that Hunter's Fury comes in, swats them off the spike once again, or gets a couple of kills. So difficult, but University of Tennessee doesn't even have to invest it. Very fortunate.
Yeah, now, talked about 7 playing forward. I think that's exactly what's going to happen this time around. Not even a curveball going to get that blind. It was a pop flash coming through from the KO. Nice little shot found by 7. And now, will they opt to run it back here? They're very far forward. I think they do so, but instead just tucking away here. Listening for those rotations back around, and 7 gets all of this information from this talk.
It will be that KJ looking to lean in towards Alert, but going to be using their abilities behind them, getting information that Phoenix is there, taken down by a shock dart. Great awareness from Alert there, but it leaves A-Side perhaps a little bit exposed with the majority of University of Tennessee now nestled nicely onto point. KO ult going to be going in, but a lot of ults on the board for Auburn should they decide they want to try to commit to that. Well, 7's not going to have the opportunity. It's immediately put down courtesy of a Vandal. Going to be the lockdown coming in from the defenders now. The attackers off point. Luke trying to go for their ultimate. Not quite able to find it, and Vicious in a very uncomfortable position. You've got to have a very good read as to where this KO is going to be playing. Not going to matter. He manages to take down the KJ. Location does get revealed, and the whole defuse comes through for Auburn.
Yeah, really not a lot of options at that point. Once you lose your Sova and you don't have that ultimate to counter the Killjoy lockdown, it is so free for the side of Auburn to take that site back over. Calypso doing a great job of just zoning out, allowing time for Rue to sort of stick the bomb from there. It is a round back in favor of Auburn, and they still have several ultimates to use to their advantage. And finally, we start to see the economy of UTK cracking just a little bit there. Sort of a mixed bag here. A little bit of a force-up coming through with Copium Addict and Vicious, both opting for lighter weaponry, but still going into the 3 digits in their economy.
And if you're on UTK, you want to be very aware of who you kill, except for maybe that Jet. You're still probably going to get a large opportunity to pick up a potentially much better weapon here. Copium going to immediately be pocketing Rue's gun. With that Vandal, as you said, the Prelude to Chaos might be providing some decent benefit. It's going to be that Phoenix, I believe, just attempting to use the run it back, but it's going to be Copium who takes them down. Spike still hasn't gone down. It's being carried all the way from like near spawn. Calypso revealing the location a bit early, and Cape Town's able to take it. Lurk stuck in a very uncomfortable spot, but just taking the 1x2 dance. Spike hasn't dropped, so the 2 remaining members are going to decide they just want to leave Lurk to play in the boathouse.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you can't beat him in the aim duels, just don't fight him at all. Run the opposite side. Jay Boogie trying to line him up through the wall there, but Luke will be able to get themselves safely onto site. Lurk going for one of the default plans here. Unfortunately, Luke the Legend, legendary with the fancy feet, just will dodge away from them. Now in a 1v2, 1v1.5, we can say. Jay Boogie still has that ultimate to lock it down if necessary.
Yeah, Jay Boogie has to, Oh no, Luke almost gave away their position a bit too early. Wasn't quite able to land that first shot, but it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, and victorious is how Luke is going to finish that gunfight exchange.
Yeah, honestly, great stuff coming through from them. They continue to find rounds back. They're always able to clap back at that. And now it's Auburn sort of forcing up their buy just a little bit more. Will be rather comprehensive at the very least, but once again, it's quite costly if they lose this round. They're forced back on the pistols. There's another round given over to the side of UTK, and all of a sudden, this armor that Auburn have been able to build up for the last 6 weeks at this is starting to crumble in week 7. It's starting to show the cracks in the armor, and despite the sort of oddball comps that Auburn is willing to pull out, it's not quite paying off for them.
Not quite. It's a little bit of a shame if you are an Auburn fan. It's going to the University of Tennessee, pushing clean up through that mid towards market, towards defender spawn as necessary. Flash goes in. The Killjoy has a good read on it, decides to play a little bit more towards that door so they can back out as that utility starts to come through. It does give up a bit of space, but now the defenders know exactly where they want to keep their eyes trained. But instead of training your attention, we're going to be training it towards that courtyard. Man, you can get 2 with the Guardian. It's going to be some serious damage, and really have to back off here. Vicious has to start playing this a little bit more methodically, and it's not going to matter. Calypso managing to land the one shot with the Vandal that brings them down.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Auburn at this point as well, they've still got those fundamentals that we were talking about. You don't get yourself to a strong record without having those basic fundamentals of gameplay. They're doing quite well at doing so, and you know, UTK, they can still get punished. They show that they're human. They've had rounds like that where they sort of just lose touch with what they need to do, and now forced back very heavily into a save, despite Luke having several thousand credits available. No hero rifle gonna come through. It's just gonna be everyone saving up for next, and Auburn, despite them potentially having their economy on the precipice of disaster, they're able to recover quite nicely, and now it's just leading the charge here. Doesn't get blinded up, dodges away, gets 1. He will be boosted right.
And 7's going to be managing to take down Cape Town, and I'm noticing that a lot of the kills that 7 seems to get aren't because they're playing Phoenix, just because they get used to that Killjoy duel, or they're playing kind of off different angles and locations. I think we're perhaps really starting to see some of the weakness in that possible selection coming through Auburn, but still a lot of ascent to play. And that spike slowly being carried away through the attackers' spawn. A, looking a little bit more heavily manned. And that Omen can be using that teleport just to cross away safely, get with the rest of their team. 3 members remaining. Auburn has those numbers advantages.
Yeah. Now for Tennessee, just sort of trying to piece it together. You can see how sort of spread out they're playing. Kopimatic can toss a couple of knives through. Seems as if they want to finish at A here, but it's read out pretty well. Nice angle picked up. Oh!
30
A
seconds
couple
left.
of knives land, but not quite enough. And Boost, they're just going to dash on out. Luke not able to convert on it either. And instead, everything fumbles down. Auburn convert.
Yeah, truly hate to see that if you're Kofi in that jet on that moment. Just a few of your knives, you hear the sound effects, you hear them sinking into your opponent's body, but you don't see anything come up on the kill feed. And that was an opportunity that they absolutely needed to capitalize. Do you think that was a bit too much or too stubborn of a commitment to A, Adam?
I think potentially a little bit. Once again, you're on a save round, so does it really matter? This is a late time. Whoa. That's a very late time out in there. They called that last second. They're like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we'll rethink this one. We want to make sure that we've got it right. Nonetheless, UTK, I think, yeah, a little bit too stubborn going towards that A site, but realistically, the Killjoy setup on B, you don't have that as an option. You just got to shrug it off at that point and say, it's a save round. We'll get what we can. They got 2 guns out. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know why I thought UTK, or excuse me, Auburn lost their Killjoy early on. I thought it was the push through B main, but regardless, no, I think that's a fair point. Those save rounds, perhaps, in terms of expectations, a little bit lower stakes.
Yeah. I think as well, moving forward in this game is UTK, they're finding success on the attacking side, and we talked about how this is a defensive-sided map. If Auburn wins the next 3 rounds, UTK are still perfectly, I would say, neutral with it. It's sort of the result, and we get to see what they can cook up on the defensive side. Granted, Auburn with this Phoenix might be looking forward to the attacking side at that as boosted with that operator. Oh, it doesn't matter if you flash him out. Unfortunately for Vicious, was caught sort of squatting in tiles. Gets punished for their troubles once again. Boosted. That was good.
Yeah.
This is never mind. Gets taken down by J-Boogie.
Yeah, through the wall with the Vandal, no less. But Lurk gonna have the information there. Tries to connect onto Copium, but Copium says no. Your team has done enough damage at this point. Nice paranoia coming in from Root. Connects perhaps just a moment too late after they make the swing. 7 is trying to keep eyes towards Killjoy. Gets the bot detected and immediately turns their attention to Market. Cape Town decides that it's still a good idea to try to pressure that site. However, now it's just going to be up to Copium at it with their Sova to try to connect all the damage that they can. Lots of locations being revealed here. Omen. I'm going to be using that ult just for a bit of information perhaps. And Luke keeping eyes towards Calypso. Going to be knowing that that player is right there around Market.
30
And
seconds
with,
left.
The defending Omen smoking through the courtyard area. It's going to give the attackers a little bit more of a nice, easy path towards A. Have to be very careful. Killjoy is right next to him, waiting with open arms for that Omen. Can't quite connect onto the scope. Pulls out the classic, but that gives J-Boogie enough time to reload
10 seconds
and go for the
left.
second magazine.
Yeah, unfortunately for J-Boogie, though, you don't have a whole lot of time. You've got an operator in your hand. That's probably not the gun you want to be taking 1v1s with. Gonna find another one at the very least. Saves the op. Yeah, that was one of the rounds of all time, but Auburn find it.
And it's a great opportunity for UTK now that they have that op still in hand, but it doesn't necessarily mean parity across the rest of their economies. I mean, we're seeing Spectres, we're seeing, I believe it's a Vandal, a Sheriff, and a Classic. Copium doesn't even have those knives out. No, it's going to be traded up for the Guardian instead. So, I mean, you have everything across the board here for UTK, and it's kind of tough.
You gotta sort of just like mix and match with your buys at this point. There's 2 more rounds. I mean, I guess if you're going for broke, you're going for broke this time around. Maybe listening too much to the expected result, 7-5 half or whatever. Honestly, I could just be pulling that out of nowhere and just saying it. But Boosted, you gotta say hello to J-Boogie and says, hey, thanks. You took my op. I will find you and I will kill you. And does exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody had to get taken for that. Just immediate response coming in from Boosted, getting 2 kills now off the top, with Lurk making sure that their name is not left off of the kill feed. And the attackers have not really gotten too close to either site just yet before the rest of their members before the 3 members have dropped. And it's going to be Cape Town and Luke, both kind of looking a little anemic on what kind of pivots they want to make here. I mean, I doubt they'll be allowed to live comfortably. Given the numbers that Auburn have, but Boosted keeping eyes trained connects right onto Cape Town. That's going to be giving Luke the information. Hey, you can't go through courtyard. You might as well try to push it through a tree.
Dart, that's enough for Luke the Legend. Hey, you know what? It's a good lineup. Knew that Luke was lit at that point.
Last round
But
in the
unfortunately
half.
for UTK, they go for broke and they get punished for it. Will be, once again, an okay buy coming through from the side of Tennessee in this final round of the half. They're able to scrape it together with their 4 ultimates in tow. It would be great for them, but 7 has sort of woken up a little bit as well. Major critique that we had was that 7 was just sort of dying off the rip, not finding any value. Has been a lot more impactful since then.
I'll take full responsibility. That was mostly a critique. It felt like I was singing the
I was
flaws.
critiquing him too.
Well, that's fair.
Well, a spade's a spade. If he's dying first, he's dying first. The first death is a first death.
You should run.
Instead, Boosted is the one who's dying first this time around.
Boosted just trying to save my man 7's stats over there, but 7 will be dying second now with no duelists. Auburn left in kind of a sticky situation as the remaining players have to back off of site. I mean, Spike does go down relatively inexpensively. I mean, you have the ults. You're not going to get to take them into the next round. So we can just wait in the wings with that Hunter's Fury. Omen may be an opportunity to come through with the ult here, but Copium kind of juggling their attention here with the Sova, and the timing doesn't quite connect. It look very bad for Lurk, who's just stuck at this tree zone.
Whoa.
Oh, but does manage to connect. It's on the animation with the
Last player standing.
with the bow coming out, but Vicious connecting 3 ensures the attackers don't give any opportunity to defuse.
great
Switching
use of those
sides.
ultimates at the end. I think major thing was the 2 players that they took down from the side of UTK were those who had their ultimates available. Or UTK, yeah, Auburn members who had their ults available. On the opposite side, UTK used 3 of them to secure up the round, even half at the end of the day. And now you sort of switch to your preferred sides, if we're being honest. A double duelist wants to be on that attack a little bit more. Your double initiator to get all that info, make sure which sites they're pushing. Going to be a little bit better on that defensive side as well. So both of them should be feeling relatively happy. This sort of feels as if, though, the momentum has shifted back into Auburn's favor, and they're feeling pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn's going to be on this attack here to start, and you can already see that they're loading up a little bit more aggressively in their weapons at the cost of those skills, and of course in that armor as well. J Boogie going to be throwing out shock darts just to try to get some information recon as well, going in, being exchanged on both ends. It should be very clear that it's a beat contact on the defender. Have to really work to react to it, but kills going in both directions. Auburn only losing 1, however, and they're on site, so things looking very good for them. And Drew, I believe, caught that flash with their chest. I don't think they able to take 1 down, but Calypso turning the corner with that chair, ensuring that jet does not last long in this world.
Yeah, I mean, great play from Auburn there to sort of recover a pistol round for themselves there. I think it was just a little bit too hasty, sort of holding sight from the side of UTK. They sort of got too bunched up, especially at the end there when Vicious and Luke the Legend are backing into each other. They don't really have too much of an angle to hold for themselves. Kopimatic, the last one left alive, never sort of the ideal situation if your duelist is the last one left there, but nonetheless, Auburn starting to get into a groove here, and very quick execution here, expecting out of this Phoenix curveball. Gonna be turning around that corner, finds the kill on the Kopimatic. 7, the first blooded, is now the first blooder.
And worth noting, 7 actually feeling confident enough to buy the Vandal on the second round. So quite a bit of confidence in that Phoenix. And I think, you know, the numbers speak for themselves. It certainly paid off in every sense of the word. Luke creeping around, keeping eyes towards Cat through tree, but it looks like Boosted's content to just hold there for the time being. More information will be gathered. The defense will perhaps any more of their abilities. They should be hearing that smoke, or at least making contact with that smoke. So we'll have the knowledge that a little bit more has been drained out.
Even with that member down, still a little bit of apprehension from the side of Auburn. They don't want to over-index onto one side, and especially with Cape Town sort of lurked up in hut here. Gonna be sort of behind the lines here. Gets 1 with the right click at the very least. Some of the gun out of the hands. But still 7 with this Vandal, so confident moving forward. Already has the run it back if they so desire.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Jet dashing in onto site. Doesn't get the killjoy, but does get the door down. And that limits the options that the defending team have to respond. The Jet's likely to know that their team will respond to them dying, especially against these weaker buys coming through from the defense. Calypso. Luke's shoulders, trying to exchange shots, but no, it's gonna be Luke with a frenzy, ensuring that player goes down. Does pick up a perspective. Can't make too much happen with it though, as the Guardian proves to be severe coming in from work.
Yeah, I think at this point Auburn's starting to get into their groove. They're feeling really confident about things and sort of get their game plan online, and especially with 7 already having that ultimate, that's now your sort of initiator at that point. Not the same effect as a KO ultimate, but you just get to go in, you get to find a frag for yourself, you get to sort of go crazy, go silly, and find one, you get it. At the very least, you're getting a lot of information when you're getting off the site. Would not be surprised to just see 7 rip it off the beginning of this round.
Or if they're anything like me, they wait till the very end of the round, they pop it, trying to entry, and then if they find nothing, he gets sent back, and then immediately knifed in the back. I mean, 7 immediately gets sent back in a very similar fashion. J Boogie gonna be waiting to catch their Jet as they jump down off the ledge. And Kopimatic gonna be trying to hold for the opportunity here. 7 not gonna be able to find anything. And just numbers being picked apart from Auburn. Calypso now gonna have the location revealed towards that courtyard, hanging around. Pizza. Smoke does drop in the door. Left it open. It's not going to be a flawless round for the University of Tennessee. Calypso able to get 1. It's not going to be backing up. Eventually able to connect. Excuse me, it's Vicious from behind, able to connect with the Phantom.
Yeah, neat little crossfire there from Vicious and Cape Town to sort of close that one out. Copium Addict had no right to live for as long as they did, but just finds two nonetheless. Great hold from Copia. Oh my goodness. Copium Addict, not Copious. Copium Addict and Jay Veliki there, sort of keeping everything safe. And UTK are willing to fight back at that. It's a full buy once again if Copium Addict remembers to buy their shields. And we're going to be back to even keels in terms of the combat power. Okay.
It's the no shield meta coming through. Copium Addict is gonna be kind of stuck in the middle, waiting out that flash, and with nerves of steel, still able to claim back the Omen. A little bit ridiculous, and he's just barely missing that alarm bot while they're spraying down that mid area, just to try to secure a little bit more freedom of movement. Not quite able to get it, and before that, the attackers might suffer. To having to reveal their locations a little bit later on into the round. University of Tennessee still numbers up and holding seemingly pretty steadfast.
Honestly, it's good stuff coming through from UTK not to overextend at that. Tennessee are just sort of keeping their wits about them. They don't want to over-index into anything either. Granted, ooh, Jay Boogie! A little bit of the thigh sticking out there. Unfortunately, is their downfall of a lot of their health. Jay Boogie will find one at least on the way down. The lineup gonna come down. The flash's not quite gonna land. Lurk has found 3 once again, and Copimatic, they might really be wishing he had shields at this point. That's a classic shot, and it's 4 for Lurk, punches it out.
Oh, that is so upsetting. I'm upset on behalf of the UTK for that, because I mean, Lurk, it felt like, had no right living as much as they did. I believe they even got scanned by the recon dart, but Jay Boogie just had their finger in too many pies, wasn't able to get that on the drop down onto B site, and so it's just so many kills going in their favor, and at the end of the day, the round.
Yeah, it just worked out so well in their favor, and now, look at this. 7 has 2 points towards that ultimate once again. They've just been farming orbs with 7 each and every time. Yep, there's 3. You find a kill, it's 4. You die, it's 5. You get a plan, it's 6. And all of a sudden, you've got your ultimate back up. And that's sort of what you want to do with Phoenix a lot of the time. In a sense, not in the same way that Cypher uses it, where normally you're just picking that up off the kills. You're not really trying to get orbs. Phoenix actively wants those orbs. So if you get an ult every 2 rounds, you're in great shape.
Absolutely, already set up in a very good way is Auburn. But again, playing a little bit more of the default, just gathering that info, pulling what they can. Alarm bot goes out. Lurk does take some shots at Cape Town as they knife check, trying to see exactly who's hanging around Pizza, who's hanging around that courtyard area. Does get that information for the rest of their team. And Jay Boogie, along with their Jet, going to be hanging out around the defenders' spawn, giving themselves some time to respond with those, oh my goodness, with those Omen smokes. But forget the Omen smokes. Vicious with a headshot from the Sheriff. Eventually, 7's going to be deciding to put the stop to it, throwing that curve ball out, but able to connect at a longer range than Copium. I believe Copium went for a couple of
30
shots.
seconds left.
Not quite enough. Now the run it back comes into effect. Blue's going to be trying with the paranoid to slow people down. Not able to make it happen, however. And that Phoenix is going to have that ult expire, rotate themselves back to tree, and now it's just Omen on the point until the 2 remaining can get back.
Yeah, and of course, because of that recent buff, well, not really recent, a couple months ago at the very least, Phoenix ult healing you back up to full. Once you pop it off, we'll just be able to get back up to being healthy and happy there. Of course, this site hold looking fairly calm. Oh, Jay Boogie made it up top! Wasn't expecting it, was a Rue! Cape Town gonna find another one, but the swarms are still out. And the Killjoy 1v1, you have to feed the one trying to hold it down, and then Calypso, who ends up on top once again. Auburn get to double digits, and all of a sudden, UTK, all that momentum they had in that first half, up, what, 6-5-2 at one point, has all fallen to the wayside. They are now down by 3, starting to run out of options in terms of their defensive strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally had my doubts about 7, but I mean, we saw that that run it back come into effect last round. I mean, we were talking about those kind of ult rotations, those ult cyclings, ideally getting those 2, or I guess 1 every other round, as you mentioned. Huge opportunity, and Jay Boogie doing solo things, ringing through with the Odin. So didn't quite have the location revealed. We're able to make the sidestep, but that's spiked down, so now somebody's gonna have to go and do the work to retrieve it. Copium Addicts Can try to take down this turret, but might anticipate Calypso playing off of it. Oh, but Calypso, or Copimatic, I believe, is just going to give up that spike possession here. So the defense no longer holding firm on it.
I think setting up a little bit of a wider setup here, potentially in case Calypso were to wrap around. Doesn't matter at the end of the day, Copimatic still finds it. But yeah, that Odin spray, you always know it's a potential thing with the Sova, and you never expect it until it hits you. Usually in the foot, I feel like the Odin's just sort of your death by a million paper cuts at that. Ends up working out all the same, and GTK, yeah, they get themselves back in a better position at the very least, considering the buy is not very strong from the side of Auburn. I think especially that last round to get to 10, a lot of losses there, very expensive round for them, and now losing that one in a flawless fashion just means that they've got no economy to work.
It's kind of what we've been seeing almost historically throughout these two teams kind of battle so far. I mean, one team will be leading by quite a bit, but there are still very much moments where the economy does not feel rock solid for either of them, despite, you know, one team perhaps having a little bit more of a commanding lead, and that's because the rounds themselves have been so close with so many losses. By the way, UTK pushing that Omen forward onto Catwalk. That is gonna that smoke is gonna obstruct Lurk's view. Quite sure if they're gonna have that presence of mind that the Omen's gonna be there. Copiamatic now gonna be holding, rotating around this smoke. 7 making direct eye contact with them through the smoke, but neither of them know it. Both just kind of holding for the smoke to break. Doesn't quite happen. The information is gathered from a recon bolt. Copium able to land onto 1. Doesn't get the shot onto Boosted, but Vicious does get taken down. Does Copium decide to go in against Boosted? Does so. Will the KO be brought back to life here? Seems like the Omen's going to try to go for it. Does so successfully, so it's back to a 3v1 Lurk. Doesn't have as much opportunity to play off the spike because they have to do some sort of point pressing as well. The quicker response just too fast from the defense. And Lurk has the opportunity to play from time, but their location roughly pinned down, although I'm not sure if this rotation is.
I mean, look at where Luke is looking. Luke is looking the wrong way. But in the smoke, once again, the dart's going to go through. Cape Town is spotted out, has to reload, though. Lurk now going to have to play off here. Will fire off one, and that's all they need. Lurk again with a clutch against all odds. Effectively a thrifty as well, considering there was only 2 guns in the inventory. Lurk has been massive in Auburn. They said Lotus was a fluke. They're looking to get themselves back in the driver's seat here, pull themselves into Haven, and keep that perfect record alive.
It's going to be very exciting as we get into these next 2-3 rounds here, Adam, because, I mean, Tennessee are afforded the luxury of not being in the spot Auburn was in, where they have to win so many rounds consecutively, right? They've kind of slowly been closing the gap, where they'll only have to win maybe a streak of 2-3 games in one. It's going to be the entry coming in from the Phoenix to start things off. 7 pulling a lot of information from the Armbot, from the swarm grenades as well. Cape Town's location is revealed, but it's not enough. Boosted gets taken down, 1 shot from the Phantom, but another shock dart. I mean, that was 3 shock dart kills this game so far. Hilarious to see Lurk coming out. Able to try to connect the Hunter's Fury into some locations where the plant might be a little bit more standard. Attackers lockdown finally expires, and now the defense are going to have the opportunity to push back. And slow plays coming in from the defense so far is going to come into effect more and more. Lurk trying to rain through from below, but not going to matter if not as good as the Odin might be for that eye penetration. That's exactly what we see Jake Boogie coming through, but 7 finally making that last connection that they needed to with the Vandal. It's all on this match point for AU.
Yeah, and we talked about how they might only need to win 4 rounds in a row. Well, now they need to win 4 rounds in a row if they are to take this one to overtime and have a chance at 2-0ing here. And the buy you see here is exactly as it seems. Not the best, not the most cohesive. A couple of Spectres and Ares, a couple of Vandals at the very least. In fact, on the opposite side for Auburn, it's not quite the expected result either. Boosted will opt for the knives though, so it is still a full buy. Still will buy up the Phantom just in case. But Luke's going to be peeking here with the Spectre. That's not the gun that you want, especially holding a long angle like from tree. Cape Town will be spotted out immediately. Information given over. Luke, though, is a legend on site, takes down 7 once again.
That Phoenix going down. Cape Town also working to get boosted down, and this fight was looking like a potentially significantly worse buy from the defenders. They managed to come through here, not with just 1 or 2 people, but 3 still standing. That means they can pick up a lot of weaponry to kind of cushion the blow to their checkbooks.
Yeah, and I think it was the 3 members who had the rifle, or 2 members who had a rifle at the very least, coming onto site later there. They played both Spectres on site, and the fact that Luke and Cape Town were able to hold it down with just the Spectres is impressive at that. Of course, it's still not going to be a great buy coming the opposite way. It's something from Vicious. J Boogie is going to potentially buy him.
Get out of
Does he
my
just
way.
not have a gun? That could be a little bit of a gaff if that's the case.
That is hopefully not the mistake you want to be sent home on an L for, or at least close the map out on an L for. Auburn only needs to win a 1, and no, it's going to be hard to start with that. Killjoy is taken out of the fight early, but Copium gets taken down, boosted at 45, so not necessarily at that full HP like they'd like to be. And given that the buys are kind of scattered and smattered all over this place, Duke gets 1 shot, can't quite connect onto the jet, does so, however, able to dip, dodge, and dive with that Spectre. 7 makes their way on the site, but takes a lot of damage from Swarm. And I mean, 1 loss for the University of Tennessee. We're still going to be feeling not horrible about that.
Yeah, and I mean, 7 just took all the damage from the Swarm grenades. That was trying to get in there with the Stinger, but the alarm bot popped later. That extra damage amp ramped up very quickly. And now, all of a sudden, it is Copium Addict with an Operator in hand. And this is something we haven't seen a whole lot of on this map. We normally see a lot more of it. I think we saw a couple of rounds with Boosted having that Operator. We saw, in fact, 1 round where Copium had it on the opposite side of the map. Now defending, you have that agency to just sort of hold down one area of the map. Seems to be holding down tiles, but it's a fast hit towards A once again. Run it back is popped. The setup is popped as well, but Cape Town moves! Oh my goodness, playing Tango there! It finds 2 at the very least, gets that Phoenix ultimate back to its cage, and it's 3v3 after all is said and done.
Yeah, the Phoenix actually gets sent back to their body, but I believe they pick up another kill onto the Omen immediately following. So good heads-up awareness, good communication. The University of Tennessee needs to make something happen with this re-hit. Calypso caught pulling out their gun. Now it's all up to Root, hanging underneath with the flash on themselves.
1 enemy remaining.
From Vicious. Oh, this could be a huge opportunity for Root. The teleport fake comes through, perhaps making that so, but the location's going to be one way. Oh, but Root manages to connect the shot with the Vandal. Auburn, 13-10, now making this a 1-1 series.
Yeah, and it's been a while since we've seen a map 3, at least for you and I, and it almost feels fitting because UTK coming through with what felt like a little bit of a crazy win on Lotus. They come back down to earth here on Ascent. They still make it very competitive, but now as you go to map 3, it's anyone's game. You go back to Haven, which is a little bit more attacker-sided, granted less so than that of Lotus. Will that benefit UTK, who did quite well in the 3-site map, or will Auburn be able to sort of keep it a little bit more even? We've seen both sides of the coin for both of these teams now, and it's really hard to separate them out. You would not expect this to be a 5-0 team against a 2-2 team.
Yeah, I have to absolutely agree with you. This is one of the most exciting matches I can recall for a while, and it's so weird because it's happening in a kind of a unique way with how these maps and how these games are developing as we go through it. But I'm hoping that we get a little bit more out of that from Haven, because seeing a 20+ round game would be a great way to end cap these 2 teams going up against one another. But folks, you'll have to catch us on the other side of this break, although we will be right back. Hello, welcome back, folks. And Adam, we were talking about it as we went to break. This is, I think, our first third map series. And Auburn versus University of Tennessee. These aren't, one team wins one map one-sidedly, the other team wins the other one-sidedly. These are maps that are going, I think, what, 22 rounds plus each.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just one-sided win after one-sided win. In the maps themselves, it's one-sided versus one-sided, yes, but that all sort of evens out at the end of the day. Both these teams incredibly evenly matched, and as we get into the twilight hours, there are some substitutions happening as well, which we'll have to keep an eye on because that could very well influence how the rest of this game turns out. I believe Auburn has a substitution of player there, so we'll have to see what that plays into on Haven, especially considering there is just the likelihood that maybe they're just a one trick popping in and they say, hey, Haven's my map. I know how to play this. There are teams that do that.
I absolutely believe it. And for those wondering, I believe I got word that it was going to be Poison going in for Boosted. So Boosted we saw as the Killjoy on Lotus, the Jet on Ascent. So really, I have no confidence in saying what Poison is going to be coming in as
Viper, maybe?
on the specialty. But I mean, fair option there on the Viper pick. But we are getting closer and closer to those compositional builds here, Adam. What do you think we expect to see?
I mean, there's sort of two Haven comps at this point that are really defining the meta. It's the same one that we've seen forever. You've got your Killjoy, your Sova, you've got Breach as sort of your second initiator there, and of course your Omen and Jet. But there is another comp coming up where instead of the Sova plus Breach, you end up just with a Sky instead, and you play double initiator with the Omen Viper. I've seen that comp a lot as well. Knowing these teams, I would not be surprised to see neither of those comps and just see like a Neon, a Cypher, just whatever shows up here. Seems as if Auburn, at the very least, are going to opt for that Viper composition, and instead of that Killjoy, potentially considering the Cypher, which did recently get buffed. So these are the two comps that we were talking about exactly to a T. Apart from that Cypher coming through, it's sort of your old Haven comp, and now your new age double controller Haven comp.
Old school versus new school. I like the storylines we're building into this map already here, Adam. But I mean, the cipher there. I mean, that was something that kind of wasn't covered in either of those compositions. So, what's the what kind of X factor does it bring, either by its inclusion or the corresponding component's exclusion?
Yeah, so I think Cypher's honestly stronger than Killjoy on Haven. There's a lot of really cool wire setups that you can use. I think the major issue that Killjoy runs into on this map specifically is that you have to play Garage. You put your turret, you either play on B site or you play in Garage and you put your turret there and you sit there forever. Killjoy doesn't have a whole lot of value on Haven. She doesn't really have a whole lot of value directly on C. She's stuck towards sort of the middle two lanes there. Whereas for Cypher, you just move that around the map as much as you want. Works out to a T. And with this double controller as well, especially that we see it on the attack, you have a lot more options. There's a Viper wall that goes directly across B like we see here. Now you have to worry about taking so much more space. This Viper wall creates a divide, and now you see sort of the numbers imbalance here, where Lurk is just running in there. He's fighting into the 4, and immediately gets eaten up. But look at where everyone else is.
Yeah, maybe a bit of false confidence over to the University of Tennessee team as the Auburn squad starts to take possession of that A site. The spike is going to go down, but the Killjoy surely going to hear it, be communicating to the rest of their team as the timer starts to tick down for the attacking at the side. Poison, as a classic, trying to throw some shots in there. May have seen one or two of the members' shoulders actually. A nice blind coming through.
Whoa!
Oh, able to pick up one, get the information. Two more police are hanging out there. Calypso going in the snake fight, gets the one with the classic. They find the paranoia, but backs up. Luke Eliza perhaps a bit too anxious to push up with the paranoia. Gets taken out by the snake fight takedown. Trying to play their best with the ghost, not able to do so. Calypso and Rue will walk away from the scene safe.
Yeah, honestly, well played from Auburn, sort of using Lurk as quite literally bait, just running through Garage. Under no circumstances should any Cypher ever do that unless it's a set play. And that is exactly what it was. It's a set play. It worked out to a T, and Cape Town was just overwhelmed on the A site. And that's sort of what I was talking about. Killjoy's not great on A. She doesn't really have a nice setup that covers a lot of site, and she's forced to give that up. Granted, numbers were at a disadvantage there. But this time around, UTK are just pushing up. They're using this Viper wall to sort of their own advantage, potentially. gonna sort of hang out here, expecting them to push up, but once again, very default, very slow coming through from Auburn.
University of Tennessee going to be doing a full stack. The Trailblazer comes out and Copium has to reveal themselves just to try to get safe and not have that Trailblazer tag them out, dashing it through 7, not quite able to make the connection. Hefty investment with that Vandal, by the way, to come through. Really try to deal some damage, but not able to find anything right off the bat. And I'm not even sure they would necessarily have the read that all of University of Tennessee is going to be at that A site. They'll slowly start to figure it out potentially here as we see the rotations come through towards that C site. Maybe the sky goes through garage. No, it's all going to be through that C. Long Omen smoke starting to go up, and that's going to provide a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, this is strange coming through from UTK. They're all on A still. And finally, they'll sort of say, I don't think they're coming here. And Spike's planted over on C. And sort of the train is going to come through. Choo-choo. What's the next stop, though? Will it be an express train, or will it get stopped at every single stop available? Will there be derailment, potentially? Delays, the whole 9 yards. It seems as if, yeah, there is some derailments right now. They're stuck. They've got nowhere to go.
And this is going to be an advantage that's kind of exclusive to Auburn. I mean, Tennessee, when they get, if they were to be in this position of defending the spike, they don't have those smokes to try to buy as much time as they can. Lots of shots going down towards the spike. Really difficult to put down that pressure and defuse. Does it come through? The attack is just going to be fired through that Omen smoke. Spike does get pinged. Eventually detonates, and with that, Auburn looking very fresh off that victory. Managed to hold on to the Vandals as well.
Yeah, a little bit odd to see them not opt to just have someone try and stick it from there, but the one member sort of on the off angle really ended up coming through, paying off in dividends there. That's the major thing that I really like to see about that set play. Yes, it was a little bit huggy. I want to say just, 5v5 retake. They're just going at it with pistols and all that stuff. Now that you've got the full buy coming through, it's not necessarily a free round. There's 3 Vandals on this side of Auburn. They're feeling incredibly explosive with this one, and this time around they're just going to press W. They're running it right into B, and they've taken over the site already. Killjoy setup was in the wrong spot once again, and what do you do about it? You just give up site.
Now the possession is had. B is going to be holding on to that spike right in front of the courtyard, making it a little bit more exposed for any of the defenders, as we see that Viper potentially holding for that window drop. Very careful. Boys able to exchange shots. Copium does take down 7 and falls off with a kill.
One enemy remaining.
And just like that, it becomes a Sova versus Viper type situation. It comes once again down to this late play. Recon Dart's gonna go out, but eventually, or immediately rather, gets destroyed. It's a matter of time. Calypso should be happy to play it, but no, instead gonna be getting the kill. Be ensuring that things will go the way of Auburn, and 3 rounds in a row right at the beginning, not offering an opportunity for the rifle round to go in favor of Tennessee.
Yeah, and it was a very expensive loss, or a very expensive victory, I want to say, for the side of Auburn there, but they had such a strong opener with their pistol round. They had such a strong bonus round after the fact that they're feeling fine going into this next one. Calypso, of note, didn't die on the sort of anti-eco round, didn't die on the bonus round either, so now they're sitting on quite the wad of cash. And unfortunately, the opposite side, not quite with the same firepower that you're expecting. Once again, Killjoy's just sort of secluded off to B in garage. If you play around that Killjoy util, knowing full well she doesn't have enough for full util this time around, you just take advantage of that as they push down A. As 2 kills already picked up, A site is completely primed for the take. Plus, Vicious has something to say about it.
And
nice
he does. Yeah, nice shot from the Sheriff. Vicious immediately going to be backing off, getting the 1 kill. Going to be content with that, knowing that things are now equalized just a little bit more. But keep eyes out here. That Cypher over at C site looks like they're signaling that they want to start liquidating the rest of their team over there. Nestled neatly behind that Viper wall, and I imagine as it drops, going to be given a little bit more freedom of movement, especially with those Omen spokes towards the spawn. It is a breach taking a long time to rotate through the attacker. One kill going in favor. Another. Now it's all going to be up to this breach. Vicious has that Vandal. It might take them too long. They may just opt to save here.
Yeah, I think they're electing to save instead. Sort of still meandering their way over. They do have tools to potentially turn this around. An aftershock into Cubby, a fault line down long, a nice timed flash as well might be the play, but instead, Vicious gonna decide not feeling so vicious today. Take a breather, head back with the save, and at the very least, it's a marginal. I don't even want to call it a victory. It's like a marginal less of a loss. It's only 95% of a loss instead of 100% of a lost round.
That's, sometimes you just got to walk away losing as little as you can, and a totally fair decision making from University of Tennessee once they hit that point. Knowing, especially looking at now the kind of money that they would have had that rifle been lost, Vicious would have likely not been able to stand or keep pace with the rest of their team on these buys with only 2,200 still remaining.
Yeah, and Vicious will just opt to keep the light shields as well, but full buys once again coming through from UTK. Thus far, they've started out very flat on Haven here. We haven't really seen those glimpses of brilliance that we've seen, and what that has led to is Auburn having quite a lead in the economic department as well. Lots of util being burned to get in on the site. Seekers very early on, but look at 7 already taking a couple of shots. Will be able to find their way onto site. No kills on the way in here, so takedown turns it around and ruin 7 and actually find their man. That ends up being 2 number less. Numbers advantage still in favor of Auburn as the bodies hit the floor. Calypso gets caught by a nice little aftershock. But now Luke, the Legend, and Vicious have a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. They are working on a time bank. Vicious no longer has to worry about it. It's all going to be up onto Luke, who eventually takes a chill pill, puts away for this round. Attackers coming up 5-0, and UTK, this is looking very grim.
And timeout comes through. They say, hey, listen, it is time for us to figure out what is going wrong, because thus far it has been there's been no spark. UTK are starting to get to the end of their line, and we talked about it in map 2 a little bit. We said, hey, what happens if this goes to map 3? Is that when the stamina starts to run thin a little bit? We were talking about it in map 1 even, when UTK were on their match points. It was 12-5, and they said, hey, this could be motivation for Auburn to get back in the driver's seat. That has been exactly the case here. They've just been pedal to the metal to start off Haven. And now with 4 ultimates available as well, they've got a couple of free rounds left in there. That Viper ult is definitely one for sure.
Yeah, and the fascinating thing to me is Auburn's doing this on the offense, but I mean, you look at what their composition can offer on the defense, and that Cypher, it's going to provide something that University of Tennessee just might not be prepared for, aside from the fact that you have the Omen, aside from the fact that you have the Viper, and you already have a lot of map control from those 2 characters. This is a great half for an Auburn, and an even better Omen, for the lack of a word, an even better prelude to what might be coming as we look towards that back half.
Yeah, much like the Vandal skin, it seems to be a prelude to chaos, if that. Granted, the prelude may also be the interlude and the postlude if Auburn are able to loop together enough rounds for themselves. Right now, it feels as if we're in the postlude of UTK's run in this series, but of course, lots of Valorant left to be played. You can't say it's over until it's over. Granted, 5 rounds in a row to open up is always tough. And now that you're on a save round as well, it's unlikely at the best of the times that you're able to recover this one. But we've seen Thrifties this series. I would not be surprised to see another one.
He's going to be using that ult to gather some position onto site. And again, another situation where A site looks very attainable for Auburn. Fight is going to go down, and that's going to be the Viper's Pit as well. Lurk on that Cypher to get a 1 as the jet does go down, failing to connect with the knives. Lots of shots trying to go through. Vicious just prompting them or prepping themselves for some abilities to go out and cause maybe a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of disruption for the Auburn University. Evan tries to go in with the Judge, doesn't quite make it connect. Perhaps a little bit bold to be pushing out of the Viper's Pit with that Judge, but it's not going to matter so far. Auburn's still looking fairly confident. Vicious taken down by Poison. Calypso quick to follow. And Jane Boogie just trying to find what they can, even trying to switch to the Judge for any who might be on the exit. Not going to matter, however. All but one walk away clean from Auburn.
Yeah, and I mean, even at that, 7 was playing far too aggressive for their own good. Was just sort of like, hey, let's try this. If it works, it works. I get a clip. If it doesn't, who cares at that point? But now, Of course, the ultimate economy flips the opposite way. Copimatic did pop those knives, but 4 available, and the big one there is that breach ultimate. It's a tool that Auburn doesn't necessarily have for themselves. Incredible for retakes, especially in conjunction with that Cape Town ultimate with Killjoy. We'll see how they ought to play it here.
Going out.
A little bit aggressive coming out of tree here. They might go right in it to the stack as Copimatic take a couple of shots, and yes, this is exactly what we wanted from the University of Tennessee Knoxville. We're gonna find a couple 3 kills actually off the opener, and now Poison and Rue left to figure out what do we do.
Yeah, I believe Copium peeking is a little bit too early into the court.
Last player standing.
Gonna be hit by that breach flash
Spike
after
down
the second,
A.
after the first contact was made. It's all up to Rue. Not realistically going to be able to get the spike and get it planted within the amount of time. So it's looking like it might just be a moment where they're trying to pull whatever they can from their opposition, knowing that University of Tennessee still might be on a long recovery for their wallets.
Yeah, sort of all the pushes, all of the aggression starting to fizzle out. Luke might be able to take contact from Rue, will end up doing so, and that's a flawless round back in favor of UTK, and not one that was expected at the very least, considering the narrative we were sort of drawing for them. But nonetheless, a welcome one at that.
So my expectation here, Adam, full cards on the table, is based on how we saw the first 2 maps go. University of Tennessee now win like, let's see, how many do we have? 4 rounds from here till the end of the half, and make it a much closer half than you would expect just looking at the first 7. If that comes to fruition, we'll see. But realistically, I would not be surprised based on how these teams have been performing against one another. Copimatic now. They're looking to push up pretty far forward. Catches the flash.
Spike down
Poison
A.
taken down. University of Tennessee. My predictions are kind of at least starting to come to a piece here. 3 members remaining, slowly making their way towards that spike, and as it has been dropped. Copimatic not quite able to take the jet before she's able to get that spike pulled away.
I know exactly
coming
where you
through
are.
as well. The neural theft. Got to be giving information onto which site might be a little bit more over or underexposed. That should be. Information is going to be revealed, and the defense actually not seeming to respond to it all that much. They don't fake any of their movements. It seems they don't really kind of push too much. But as that Sova pulls away from the site, that's going to be the moment the Vicious gets taken down. Hunter's Fury comes out and forces Auburn University to drop the spike plant. Ramjet almost getting caught on the final tendril of Hunter's Fury. 7, not quite enough health to play comfortably around that. So the drone going in, hanging low, catches the ankles of the Jet. Oh, but it doesn't matter. That information is not enough to prevent Luke from losing their life. Rue has to play back as the defenders are going to be pushing in with the lockdown of their own. No smokes, however,
Revealing area.
to prevent Auburn University going really contesting diffuses. Lurk. An excellent performance coming through here. It was looking so good for University of Tennessee. I was really hoping my prediction get closer to being true.
Yeah, it was just a little bit rushed. I think the major issue is Vicious is your main tool to get back on site with their ultimate. If you're using your Sova ultimate as sort of a preventative tool as opposed to a definitive tool, I want to say, you know, they're trying to prevent the plant from going down. You could use that after the fact to clear out some of those common angles, to clear out Cubby from A-Long, to clear out Sewer. They don't opt to do that, and instead it's the breach died, wasn't able to get back on site, and just sort of sit there and wonder where it went wrong. And I think that's exactly what happened. They just sort of got a little too antsy. They could have stayed in their default. They could have played around their retake focus a lot better. Granted, they're going to have to play retake already because that's a quick hit onto B. 15 seconds into the round, and the spike is planted.
Yeah, Seekers are going to go out. That puts the defense immediately on their heels just a little bit. And now we're seeing the attackers, they move so fast that it kind of forces a fast response from the defense. And we're seeing the Viper, we're seeing the Auburn, we're seeing the Cypher all kind of play off here. Rue able to get 1 poison as well. Poison 2, rather, but Jay Fookie looking to break things here. Calypso playing at window, has 1 snake bite.
Last player
Really going to be trying to play within Orb Lurk. Can't quite tell if they made that connection. However, it's not going to be enough of a stall, especially considering that spike's a half.
Yeah, almost enough of a stall there coming through, but it's another one scraped out by UTK. Going down to the wire once again, it feels like in some of these rounds. Not necessarily in terms of the score line, but it just shows how evenly matched these teams still are. And finally, the economy from Auburn starting to crack just a little bit. You see the chinks in the armor from Lurk, or for Calypso at the very least. The economy from Rue and Seven starting to get, Seven specifically starting to get a little bit lower. So start to worry about the longevity of their guns. If they keep trading rounds back and forth, eventually everyone ends up broke.
We've seen it time and time again between these two teams. A nice blind onto Vicious, just to get a little bit of information.
Oh no!
Oh, the sack gets swung right by the yet two recon scattered. And Vicious actually doing a fairly decent job inside that garage at holding what they can despite getting stunned out. J-Boogie may not have knowledge of this fight, but has to be very careful here. I don't know if Calypso hears them. Doesn't check certainly, and as J-Boogie takes that turn to look back towards the entryway, sees the barrel of the Viper looking their way. Takedown forced onto site. Working hard not to get caught in that trip. Those boxes, a little bit fragile, can be fired through. But now with that orb, there's really only one way you feel threatened to look if you're the attacking team. The one way is going to prove superior here for the attackers. And 2-8 Tennessee. This is snowballing against them fast, Adam.
Yeah, once again, you know, the snowball is rolling down the hill here. Game one, you know, Dad doesn't have to go, you know, do the dishes or whatever at that point. This time around, nah. Dad's on a business trip at this point. You're just able to keep that ball rolling. That is exactly what Auburn are doing in this situation. Apparently the different styles of parenting is coming through as well between these two teams. This is okay. You know what? I always say this is what happens when you get to a game 3. I start pulling out the most random stuff. This is what you do.
We'll work with it. We'll make it happen. Don't have to push through the wall, the microphone. Gonna try and ring through, not finding too much. Coming in a camera. Just a little bit of information. Don't believe they got the tag, though. Will be enough to get Kofi Matic taken down either way. With 2 members down from the defense, a nice scan goes out, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot the defenders can necessarily do off the back end of it. Luke trying their best not to push through that Viper or Seven trying to make some fireworks happen. They're going to do the celebration from Auburn as now they go up 9-2.
Last round
things looking very good for them.
Yeah, I guess they called out the Auburn University 720 at that, just sort of firing bullets around, spinning around, saying, hey, if it hits, it hits. But I mean, nonetheless, it's a 9-2 lead at this point. They can do whatever they want. It feels as if they've got all of that momentum in their favor. And from the side of UTK, I think they just ran out of steam. That snowball that we talked about that started rolling on the opposite side in map number 1 has now been reversed the opposite way. It is now a rainball? I can't really do that either.
I'm just going to say that now all standard snowballs are equipped with gear shifts, so they just threw it in reverse and immediately started backing it up. But, I mean, no reverse here for Luke. They are pushing very far forward. Managed to catch the sniper, take them out as they're setting up. So this defense getting very aggressive and looking to pull it off extremely well. That is before Kobe Matic gets a bit too far ahead of themselves. Going to be revealing their location. Game of dominoes right now. 1 kill going in favor, and then immediately get returned. A nice blind coming out from the breach. Another one to follow up with. I believe it was shock. Dark poison.
Last player
Connect odds. The breach doesn't quite be enough, and I'm not quite sure what's exactly happening here. Poison trying to make an escape. Yeah, I mean, this is manhunt. This is gladiator mode. This is just Poison trying to survive, but the defenders are going to make this look at least a little bit more like an equal half.
Yeah, I guess so. At the end, they started to bring it back a little bit. If we ignore the first quarter, you know, they had us in the first quarter, not going to lie. That's what they're saying to themselves. But now they've got to have them in the second half. They really have to buckle it up, get themselves back in gear. You said those snowballs have gear shifts. I mean, you got to just, I don't know. Do snowballs have clutches? That's the real question. Like most cars these days don't have clutches, right?
Yeah, in my mindset, I'm thinking it's a fully automatic snowball, but
Yeah.
there might be some more old-fashioned folks who, you know, might have that other opinion.
Yeah, I think like some of these snowballs, they might be a little outdated, and the clutch is just getting stuck. This is what happens when your driving instructor's like, "Oh yeah, I've got an automatic car, so how do I learn how to drive standard snowball?" You don't. And unfortunately, the automatic snowball can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, and unfortunately, it's rolling in Auburn's favor thus far. Lots of aggression shown towards A, and immediately they throw it in reverse. They unstall the car and they're leaving for other pastures.
I mean, Auburn, you know, have that score advantage, and we're seeing
Wait a moment.
a lot of disruption kind of happening towards that C side, and Lurk able to get a nice shot. And that was Spike, although I don't believe it gets called out because the Spike wasn't seen as the shots through the smoke. Calypso going to be playing around their wall. Sees the jet, manages to connect onto it. Killjoy should be picked up here as well, and it's all going to be up onto that Sova. Calypso has the wraparound. The rest of their team doesn't achieve, but they do. 7 helping out to ensure that the 4 remaining members of Auburn see those double digits.
At this point, I don't even think the snowball has a gear shift. It's just rolling down the hill. It's a grade. How do they grade those hills? Like a 12% grade hill? It's dunzo at this point. Now you've got to force up, but in that sense as well, the issue with forcing up here is you didn't get the spike down, and that makes your force a lot weaker. You don't have as much of those credits, and you only got 1 kill as well, so it's not like you can get a Spectre, you can get full shields or anything like that. You're just really struggling at this point. It's 3 Guardians. You have to find close quarters fights, which is so hard against a Cypher when you've got these wires set up. Because you try and dash in, you will get shut down as soon as you try and pass.
Yeah, Lurk's not getting away for free, at least not initially, taking a bit of damage through those breach abilities. It's able to clean up, but Auburn swinging in heavy. And there were a couple stingers on the Auburn side, so it's not like they were necessarily under-equipped, or it's not like they were necessarily buying, like, the Spectre standard that I kind of come to know and love.
I mean, Lurk just playing off his trip so well, can sit in the smoke, just shoot him down at that. And now, all of a sudden, what is supposed to be your buy round, what is supposed to be sort of a free win handed over towards Tennessee, is not so much so, because there is worse weaponry than last seen there. It is 1 stinger, it is a Sheriff full shields, and the rest of them just sort of piecing Sheriffs together. It's looking rough. And UTK, they need to just find round at this point. Any way that you can find it. Cape Town and Copiumatic trying to keep him in it as best as possible.
And that is great, but Root looking to equalize very quickly. 20 HP left, however, has to back up. Give that high ground in Auburn. They'll just pull some kills in their favor, but it's not going to matter if they can't pull the round wins. Oh, really on this Omen really to hold steady. Gets to that last and final round, or closer to that last final round, put it at 12. Copiumatic, Breach, both should be able to walk away with some nicer weaponry, given that it's going to be a struggle for their teammates.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to be able to buy up a little bit. I think at least the people who forced up were the ones who stayed alive. So, it's still decent buys across the board. But of course, for Auburn, they were perfectly happy with that round. That was their bonus that they didn't really expect to have after they had a bonus already. So Odin going to be coming through from Calypso. 5 out of 9 towards that ultimate, which, as we mentioned, can often be one of those free rounds in your favor. Copiumatic is just playing so aggressively already in, gets caught by the wire, and Lurk shuts it down once again. This Cypher is everywhere. He is in their walls, and he is on the ground.
Yeah, he is now in a grave. A little bit of Where's Waldo action, trying to find the Cypher trips every time. But the attacking University of Tennessee now going to be routing pretty much their entire force through the garage window. It's going to be trades exchanged. Rue down Vision across their own life, and then Luke immediately to follow them out to the grave. Poison trying to throw out some birds, but the Lions themselves gets a second, or rather gets the Trailblazer in there. James Bogey's location going to be revealed, but hugging the corner. The Dragon is there to swing with their team defenders. Now only 1 round away.
It's time for the weekend, they say. It's time for Thanksgiving break to start. They're ready to get out of there, say Auburn, and they start to shut things down. And now, of course, we talked about the lead that UTK had on Lotus, after it was a 9-3 half, it was like 12-6 maybe. This is a little bit more of a hefty climb for UTK. They're going to have to find some miracle rounds, especially considering Cape Town Luke the Legend. Those are shares. That is all they can afford at this point. It's gonna be something miraculous for them to bring this back to even if at that. And one false move cost them the entire game. And Lurk, once again, hey, back at the same spot. It worked last time. Why not again?
Tripwire destroyed.
Tripwire is going to be destroyed instantly, and Breach Utility is going to be coming, pushing out that Omen. I mean, that Cypher, the neural theft goes out. Cleanup. Trying to go through here. University of Tennessee is going to have to read the lowdown on where their opponents are. Luke looks like they might be content to play in Garage. Oh, but they're going to be seen by Auburn's Omen. I believe that Telly may have prevented them from immediately getting caught out. J Boogie.
Here.
Looks like they might be leaning towards that B site, but that's going to be very difficult if they have to cross that tripwire. Looks like they do not. They decide to just back off, go back to Garage for one more bite at the cherry.
I mean, look at the wrap as well. Look at where this Viper is sitting from Calypso. Sort of looping around the back. That camera completely undetected. Luke the Legend is going to have to find something, but they're going to take a little bit of damage through the smoke. Here. Oh,
wow.
But it's now all down to Luke the Legend. They are running around with the knives out. They're looking for anything. And Poison shuts it down. Absolutely Venomous is the end of it. And Auburn will not give UTK another shot. They're dancing over there. They're having a great time.
Win.
Auburn clean it up at the end. 13-4 dominant map 3 from them.
I'm a little bit confused. I thought that the Jet would have dropped their Vandal for Luke the Legend, but I don't think we saw that. I don't think Copium either dropped it or dropped it in the same location. Doesn't matter. It was a 4v1 at that point anyway. But Auburn, despite what we might have expected based off the first two maps, win Haven a lot more convincingly than we've seen prior to the rest of this night.
Yeah, I think they sort of just took a while to come to their senses there. I think UTK really did a great job of catching them off guard at the very beginning. I don't think it's been very often, considering the perfect season, that Auburn has been behind on a lot of maps. And considering the rest of the competition that we've seen thus far, there are some matchups that are completely one-sided at that. Auburn potentially not expecting that much resistance in map 1, forced to sort of get back on their horse in map 2, and then map 3 they were in their chill zone. They were able to just run it through, find themselves another victory. So now up to 6-0 for themselves, still doing quite well, all things considered. How long can the Auburn reign last? That is my question, because we got to see that they are immortal nonetheless. They are Tigers, but they are not the top of the food chain.
I mean, I believe Tiger's blood is its whole thing, so obviously they bleed at some point. But I mean, Auburn going to be very content. As for the question of how long do we see them kind of stay in that top spot of not having lost a game yet, at least via gameplay, that remains to be seen. But we only have a 1 or 2 more weeks left in this, so I mean, it's at most 1, at least 1. I'm gonna split the middle though, keep it safe and say 1.
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one point over under 1.5 weeks left.
But kind of getting into that, we will have the opportunity to kind of pick the brains of Auburn here in just a little bit. We will be in the interview booth on the other side of this break. So folks, make sure you stick around. Hello, folks. Welcome back. A very speedy break because we were excited and thrilled to get Calypso here in the interview booth with us. So, Calypso, hello, welcome. Big congratulations tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I kind of want to dig into the mind of Auburn, getting into this match before even the first map at Lotus hits, what was the mindset for your team going up against Tennessee? Was this just another day at the office, or was this something you kind of had planned out a little bit?
I think it was definitely both because we had a sub for the first two maps, which made it a little more difficult. It was definitely a day in the office, but we also had to plan around having a sub and getting them involved in some of the plans that we had for today.
For sure. And I guess going into map one, going down 9-3 in that first half, sort of knowing that it's an attacker-sided map, you did start to bring it back in the middle there. With your perfect season on the line, does that sort of affect your mental after a map one like that?
It definitely doesn't, like I've said in past interviews, and many other tournaments, we're a map one dropping team, so our mentals are pretty still reinforced at this point. I don't think any of us really doubted ourselves going into the next two maps, especially seeing that Haven was the third. Haven's one of our strongest maps, so I think we were all chilling.
Yeah, and of course we got to see that on Haven, but looking at Ascent as well, a little bit of a wrench thrown into the plan there with the Phoenix getting picked up. Walk me through that pick and what the mentality behind it is for your team.
Yeah, so the sub that we got is a duelist main, and he wasn't really comfortable playing KJ, so I made the call to put him on Phoenix or put him on Jet and our 7 on Phoenix, and I think it really brought him to light more, and he was definitely more comfortable. We got some more aggressive plays, and I think that I was really happy getting 6 on defense, especially with 2 duelists on Ascent, so it definitely worked out for the best.
And then, of course, going to that last map, Haven, just crushing them at that point, it felt like at times. Your season still to this point is untouchable. Do you have any sort of words to say to the rest of the league, especially considering you're very close to a perfect season at this point?
I mean, all we have left is RIT, and good luck to them, but I don't think anyone's going to touch us at all, so.
Well, fantastic. I mean, based on the performance here today, especially in that last map, I think Auburn very well on their way to that perfect season. Calypso, once again, thank you for hopping in here, answering a few of our questions. But before I let you go, do you want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs, your friends, team, family, whoever? You have the mic.
Yeah, I want to shout out my boy J-Dub and Ashcon, 2 big supporters holding down the chat for us, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. Calypso, once again, a big thank you and an even bigger congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys.
And with that, Adam, we are about ready to wrap things up here. A fantastic night of Valorant, and it only took us 7 weeks to get in and see 3 maps between, between one matchup. So, I mean, better late than never, I always say.
Exactly. I mean, give them a little treat before we go off for a week. As next week, of course, the Thanksgiving break, no games being played, at least for EGF Valorant, I think, right? Yeah, I think so. It's not my Thanksgiving. I don't know. It's your thing. You know it is your Thanksgiving at that. I'm talking a lot about Thanksgiving. Maybe it is my Thanksgiving as well. But nonetheless, very cool to see this series come to light as well. Really well played from Auburn with that sub sort of playing from behind, stepping it up. And kudos to UTK for, despite what their record showed, they definitely showed up and they were looking very poised to give them a run for their money for a lot of that series.
Absolutely. And folks, that is about all we have here for you tonight. I want to thank you for tuning in, enjoying some good old fashioned Valorant with us. I know I certainly did. For Rare Adam and myself, we want to thank you for coming in. We will see you, as Adam said, not next week, but that will be December 1st for more fantastic Valorant. But until then, stay safe and take care, everyone.